So now we turn our attention to what should be a clinker of a game. Sydney and the Western Bulldogs at the SCG. Time to hear from Luke Beveridge, the coach of the Western Bulldogs. He's with our own Jared Healy.
Luke Beveridge does join us. Just prior to the start of the match, Luke, you've had an interesting week, but it all comes down to the next couple of hours.
Yeah, it does. Yeah, we've obviously had a couple of weeks break and freshened up a bit, and off the back of a performance that wasn't really up to our standards, we're looking to make a good play of it today.
Sides coming off the break have done particularly well in recent times. Got a reason for it?
Just maybe fresh. I mean, hopefully we follow suit. I don't necessarily think we needed it, but maybe you don't like to think of yourself as a team or a club that needs a break. But we have freshened up. We picked a really strong side, and we'll be more than competitive today. I
want to talk about your inclusions. 5. Some haven't played for a fair period of time. Are you a little bit concerned it's too many?
Not really. I think with a couple of the boys, JJ, Clay, they've done so much training. Without playing, you can actually really condition them, and sometimes they come in fitter and fresher than your group that has been playing. So no great concerns. Our medical staff and conditioning staff have done a magnificent job, and and it's great for Will to come back into the side, and we're looking for some special things from him today.
I want to talk to you about sexy footy. Gil McLaughlin described you as playing sexy footy, but I reckon in the last half dozen weeks, I suspect it's trying to shore up your defence. You've lost a couple of your key defenders. You've been a bit more stodgy, not kicking as many goals, but all those blokes are back now, so we're anticipating a really sexy game of footy if we can.
Yeah, I mean, we like to think of ourselves as a best of both worlds team, that we're good offensively and we defend pretty well, but you can only plan and strategise around the players you've got available. We've tried to play to our maximum with our group, and to our boys' credit, they've been able to hang in there and win some games under a fair deal of pressure. Now, today's team looks like there's a bit more speed in it. Maybe a little bit more drive around certain areas we haven't had it, and I've got no doubt that our game again will change today, and hopefully we can hit the scoreboard a bit more.
Looking forward to an absolute cracker. On paper, it looks a beauty. Good luck.
Thanks, Jared. Ta.
It certainly does, Jared, yes, and both of these sides coming off a bye, so there's no excuses there. Fresh and raring to go. Remember the last time these two sides met? It was round 5 in 2015 as we go to the break. It was a ripping game of football. The Dogs won an absolute thriller.
It was a great win, and it really gave us some momentum early in the season.
It's a sort of victory that makes a young group, gives them incredible belief.
They're an exciting team. They're as hard. Their contested ball numbers are absolutely through the roof. They're almost double everyone else.
The challenge of going to win in the state and play a very, very good side is our main challenge. We're able to do against Port Adelaide, and we're doing everything we can to repeat the performance against Sydney.
They're one of the most exciting teams in the competition, and they've had a fantastic year. They're hard to score against, and I'm sure we'll be in with a real battle.
Just what the Gold Coast need as they're trying. Oh, he's fixed him, Hutto. Yep. And now the kick. Which hasn't quite been right today for most of the Suns.
Rocket pretty angry with that, very disappointed. Oh, this is unbelievable.
This is getting beyond a challenge.
Well, I tell you, actually, they should grab the footies and just check, are they flat?
It's a frustrating game, Rocket, in your 350th as a coach, but the kicking for a goal from both sides was appalling. Between them, they produced 33 behinds, and that is not good football. There it is, 15-18 to 8 goals 20, 40 points the margin. 2-metre Peter kicked 3 goals for the Suns. Nunes and Memory kicked a couple for the Saints. Riskatelli was very good, the veteran, picking up 33 disposals. Malcheski also had a big day, so too did Aaron Hall. Montagna, as usual, picked up plenty, and Jack Stevens always gives his best. So we'll have a look at some of the highlights from this win by the Suns. Tuke Miller snaps the first goal for the Suns, just 20 metres out, right in front. And then we saw the little master, right on 50, swinging around A beautiful goal to stretch the lead to 35 points. Saints are in trouble. Here's Weller getting it off to Loney. And into the square, into the open goal. No problems, a much needed one there. But this is the bad news. Paddy McCartan concussed yet again. He was tested. They said, no, you can't come back. So he certainly has some problems as far as concussion is concerned. Here's Ryan Davis now going into goal in the second quarter. Suns leading by 37 points at half-time. Nick Riewoldt, well, he was a culprit as far as kicking for goal was concerned, but had 5 behinds for the quarter. Finally an opportunity for Membry. Recovered well and kicked over the body. 50 points was the margin at three-quarter time. And Aaron Hall was content to go right out of the middle. Beautiful play, almost like a training run. And they finished off in style. Dion Prestia was amongst the goals as well from 40 metres out. And Brandon Matera, who's a real little live wire as well down in that forward line, well, he got a bullet pass and he just ran into the open goal. And the eventual margin was 40 points as far as the Gold Coast Suns were concerned. So we turn our attention to Sydney and the Western Bulldogs. Sydney have produced a number of youngsters who've really turned it on in the past couple of years. One of those is the blonde superstar in Isaac Heaney, and he's chatting with our own Jason Dunstall.
Match of the round today, no doubt about that, at the SCG. And Isaac, I'm very sure, given we've got two good teams going at it, you haven't forgotten the fact that the Bulldogs got hold of you here last year.
Yeah, definitely. I unfortunately didn't get to play in that game, but no, they did, and it is in our memory bank, and hopefully we can get another one on them today.
Now, we're expecting very much an inside game because we're talking about two teams that are very good at contested possession and clearances, so there's going to be a lot of inside work.
Definitely. They're a fierce team, and it's going to be solid all day, and I think we're coming out here to really hopefully give it to them physically as well, so because we know they're going to give it to us, and like you said, contested footy's their game, and we're going to match it to them.
How have you rated your own season thus far?
Yeah, not too bad. I think start of the year kicking a few goals and just getting that defensive side of my game working at the moment, so it's just a matter of getting that balance, and yeah, I'll be happy.
I'm sure you'd love to spend a little bit of time in the midfield, but who can you tap on the shoulder to get out of there, mate?
So true. I've got no idea. If I can slip in, just give them a little break. I mean, I'm probably there for not even 5 minutes a game, and no, I'm happy sitting up forward at the moment, and until my time comes, I'll just chill down forward.
And life with Bud in that forward 50 seems to be going along nicely.
Yeah, definitely good little synergy there, and us forward group are working all right at the moment. So, no, I'm happy being up forward and watching a superstar like him kick hopefully 100 this year.
Looking forward to another great game. Good luck today, mate.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Back to you, Sandals.
Good on you, Jace. Thank you very much. Yes, this could well be the game of the round. So what do punters think? Well, let's check the latest sports bets odds now on this game with Nathan Brown.
Thanks, Andy. Both of these teams off the bye, both fresh. You'd imagine the intensity is going to be up. I expect it to be a low-scoring game. Sydney have won 6 of their last 7 against the Dogs, but you might remember last year the Dogs kick-started their season with a big win at the SCG. The big win, little win market, they think it's going to be tight because they lay a lot of tackles, both of these sides. Sydney just favoured in that one. And the first goal scorer, how could you go past Lance Franklin? He's in unbelievable form. He kicks the first goal more than any other player up in Sydney. So if you want to get involved, download the Sportsbet app, but please always gamble responsibly.
Thank you, Brownie. Yes, looking forward to this one. And then, of course, following this game, it is arch rivals. There's none fiercer, Carlton and Collingwood. So still a lot to look forward to on Fox Footy on a Super Saturday being brought to you by Jeep. Looking forward to seeing the Dogs. They've made a number of changes for this game. In fact, 5 in all as we see them coming out onto the ground now. But the good news is that Wood is back. Johannisen has extreme pace off that half. Backline is back. Minson comes into the side. So too does Smith and Webb. It's a big day for Lockie Hunter. It's his 50th game and he's been a star so far this season. An important game for the Dogs. They've lost 2 of their last 5. They're just clinging to 8th position on the ladder. A win tonight, though, and that would guarantee them their 10th win of the season. Election Day 2016 and the Sydney Swans making their way out onto the SCG. Just the one change. Jeremy Laidler comes back into the side at the expense of Ali Alir. They're looking good at the moment, sitting in second spot on the ladder at 10-3. They won 4 of the last 5, coming off the bye. They'll be pumped. And if you're into elections and Sydney Swans, I can tell you that the Swans have played on election day 4 times. When they have won, Labor has won the election. When they've lost, the Coalition has won the election. Something for our commentary team to ponder. I'm speaking of Gerard Healy, Jason Dunstall and Dwayne Russell. Boys?
I'll concentrate on the football today, Sandy, and let the boys concentrate on the other result, if you like. But I've got a couple of superstars next to me, of course, the Brownlow medalist Gerard Healy and one of the greatest goal kickers of all time, Jason Dunstall. And we've got an array of superstars in front of us this afternoon.
Yeah, and there's one of the greatest goal kickers of all time, just having a last-minute attention out the back. We know that he can really get hold of a team. He's got 47 goals. He's right in the firing line for another Coleman medal. And there has been a shift in where he's kicking them from, Gerard.
Well, you've noticed this, Jason. He used to predominantly get most of his really tight goals from the far side against his left foot, and he'd swing them back inside out, if you like, but more central and probably on the other side. And we do see him running around. Potentially a likely candidate. Morris may go to him, but Easton Wood will have a large say whether or not he's on him directly, or as you see here, in his capacity to be able to cover 2 men or to assist Dale Morris in covering off Buddy Franklin. Look at the way Easton Wood prepares. He reads the ball as well as any defender we've seen in recent times. He's got 3 players he can cover off there. He's got himself perfectly positioned, and his raw athleticism coupled with a really athletic body and his absolute mind that makes great decisions, allows him to cover off so many players.
Yeah, for me, having Wood and Johannesson back in the lineup gives them a twofold improvement. They're better equipped defensively, and I think they're also better equipped in attack. And that man there needs to lead the attack for the Western Bulldogs if they're going to get over the Swans today. Outstanding season last year.
Yeah.
Bit hot and cold this year, Gerard.
His highs have been just as high, but he has had much lower lows, and he'll know it. He's a competitor. He'll want to come back, and I think he'll be absolutely thrilled to see that half-back line get to back as strong as it will be without Robert Murphy, of course. But attack and defence so interlinked.
We've got Sydney royalty up here in the box in the Brownlow medalist Gerard Healy. We've got some on the boundary as well. Their premiership captain Barry Hall. Welcome to you, Baz.
Yeah, thanks, Dwayne. Well, beautiful conditions down here for match of the round, and Sydney Swans are flying, obviously, but it's been more about the Western Bulldogs and their form coming into this game. And they've really struggled to score this season. They're ranked 4th in the competition in 2015. We've got the top 8 there on the screen, and just who sits outside that is the Western Bulldogs, ranked 9th, 88 points a game, and that's certainly been down from 2015. We spoke about their halfbacks and the injuries. Johannesson back in, so that's good for him. But Jakey Stringer, he also spoke about his form. 6 goals in the last 5 games, so they need a bit more scoring out of him. They need to start to score if they're going to be a contender this year, and of course win today's game. They've got to score. They've got to hit the scoreboard against the Sydney Swans, who are the best defensive team in the competition. It's going to be interesting. Can the Doggies hit the scoreboard, Dwayne?
Yeah, it's going to be a big change-up as well. You can see Johannesson back in, so they've made 5 changes, and Johannesson hasn't been playing for 9 weeks, so that was a big inclusion. No VFL, straight back in. Easton Wood straight back in from his hamstring. Minson playing his first game as well, and you've got Clay Smith playing his first game for over a year.
Yeah, but the most important thing today, particularly for the Western Bulldogs, we're talking about a team that just hasn't quite been able to score like some of the better teams. You've got the best conditions you will ever get for football in the middle of winter. There are no excuses whatsoever. A better team on paper than I've had in recent weeks. A great opportunity to record back-to-back victories here at the SCG for the Bullies.
Luke Beveridge will be really keen to get another scalp against the top 8 side. At the moment, they're 2 wins, 4 losses against top sides, compared to the Sydney Swans, 4 wins and 2 losses against the top 8 sides. So Swans coming off a really strong victory here in shocking conditions against the Demons, and the Bulldogs, well, they got belted by the Cats. They've both had the bye, so they're both fresh. We are set for a cracking match, and let's hope it really does entertain everybody here at the SCG, as well as you at home. And there's the main entertainer on stage, Buddy Franklin, having an outstanding year. And he'll be looking to come straight from that bye and impose himself on this second half of the year.
2nd versus 8th on the AFL ladder right now as it stands. The Sydney Swans can take top spot with a victory. And the Dogs, well, they can move up level with teams like Sydney, GWS, Geelong, North Melbourne, equal second if they have a victory.
Marcus Adams goes to Buddy Franklin.
So into the middle. Saturday afternoon match of the round. We're about to get it underway. Rough head to start in the ruck for the Dogs. Up against Sinclair. And a huge roar rings around the SCG. Boyd, an early touch. Out to Hunter. Gets them inside 50. Minson starting forward. Wallace flicks it out. Just out of Liberatore's reach. Parker squeezes it away. Here's Johannesson. First attack at full pelt.
Oh, it's
coming
good.
back from that hamstring.
They've missed that pace, haven't they?
And here he goes. That's why they brought him straight back in. No VFL games. Finds Wallace.
Roughhead took the tap and then pushed hard into the forward line. Sinclair ran with him. But Redpath will be the main target for these contested balls with Minson.
Yeah, Minson was the man they went for then. And you can see in the middle of all that, Clay Smith, the number 14. Good to have him back. Round 6 ACL last year. A couple of VFL games. And the kid from Lucknow needs a bit of luck now. So many injuries over the course of time for him. Out towards McVeigh. Caught. Hanbury. Boyd stands under it. Knockdown was good from Nankervis.
Just some good names, good solid names around the ball. Centre clearance had 3 fantastic ground ball players for both sides, and you'll see them clustered around each and every contest.
Jack Liberatore stole it from him, kept it alive. Good spot to hit. Laidler.
Sydney Swan down, copped a pretty heavy knock.
Keep an eye on that. Suckling squeezes that around the body kick towards Dixon. Couldn't keep it in.
Might be
took him out.
maybe Callum Sinclair, and he looks a little bit shaken up after that. He copped,
Mills.
Sorry, Callum Mills. He was really courageous going back with the flight. Nothing Will Minson could have done. He just held his position, but he's copped the big hip and shoulder.
Can cause some damage accidentally, Will Minson. Big unit. Liberatore in the middle of that. Donald was the umpire's call. Sure, have you heard that at home? 4 umpires talking to each other. Jack goes wide. Franklin's first touch of this late afternoon, and he heads long. Gary Rowan, Rowan will be the man. Hanbury was under him. Hits the spot. Nankervis full forward. Looted a couple of swans. Boyd. Amber was good. Biggs.
Poor kick.
And a poor kick, so Rowan gets a chance to pump it back.
Well, he's played on. Unfortunately for him, the umpire has allowed him to go back. Good transition from the Swans. Nankervis should have done better in being at the top of the square. But this young bloke has started superbly. A great mark, centred the ball well. This time he gets his own chance to convert.
Settle some nerves. Such a big game, almost an 8-point game. Struck it a bit thin. Just across the face. Suckling. She went low. Hunter forced to work for it. Stringer, first attack for him. Jones got a fist on it. Out of play.
It's fantastic confidence, isn't it, in Marcus Adams to do the job, although as we speak he's just rolled over with Dale Morris. Morris goes on to Franklin, although Adams started on him.
Good palm down Sinclair, but to Liberatore. 50th game for Hunter today. Gets it towards the wing, and Mills takes a good strong mark and a splendid release. Handball, Laidler, McVeigh, and they're out. That's sizzling handball. Set it up. Hanbury, McGlynn.
Well, Callum Mills is a star, as we know. Not
Franklin.
sure about that kick.
Yep.
Silly kick.
Easton Wood.
He's in goal-kicking distance. Go back early and ping it.
That was crazy.
Well, it was Benny McGlynn who he saw that Franklin's opponent had slipped over and knew he was clear, but he wasn't in a position to get it to him.
No one's in the square for Dixon. He sizes it up, bounces within range, and a horrible kick straight to Mills.
Well, what sort of starts Mills at? He's playing on a fair player in the Bont as well. He reads it as well as anybody. He's only a first-year player.
He's the unluckiest first-year player in the comp, Jared. He hasn't had an NAB Rising Star nomination yet, and he's played virtually every game for the best team in the comp. If they're to win today, they will be top. It's been outstanding.
Interesting that one, Luke Park. He's just lacking a bit of confidence at the moment around the ball. Normally we'd see him go up and take that cleanly in the air. And Lockie Hunter took away his attention.
Parker. Squeezes it back. Lloyd. Dangerous, but a good kick, McGlynn. They run hard for him. Towers.
They're working hard at the offside. They've done it every time now, the Swans, part of their ball movement program.
Sinclair, Heaney, both up, almost spoiled each other. Rowan had the crumb for a split second. Jong. Some good noise here at the SCG. The intensity of this contest living up to expectations. Hunter again. Reduces the body, McVeigh. Squeezed out McRae. Hanbury. Webb, a couple to beat. Smith got there, did well. And seeing it out of play. Here's McRae. We'll start it all again. Thrown a little short. Bontempelli gets his first touch. Hunter shrugs, scrambles. Tackle laid, and good tackle 2 on Smith. Didn't ride him in the back. Middle of the congestion. Picken somehow got it out. Grundy feeds back. Shakes Redpath to Parker. Again wants to go with that dangerous inside kick, but it works. Towers, good catch. Took off. Ugly bounce, McGlynn. Wallace. Dixon. Biggs.
Got to go all the way.
From the 50. Biggs with a monster.
Perfect start for the Bulldogs. Shane Biggs against his old team. He'd be thrilled to get that on the board early, Jared, wouldn't he?
Yeah,
and he had no other options. There were 3 Sydney players running back in defence. Biggs got the ball outside 50. It was a terrific mark from Towers, but again, we saw McGlynn make the error earlier on in an endeavour to play on quickly. Towers making the same mistake there, playing on before he actually was in a position to give the ball.
Spot on, Jason. Silly play by 2 Sydney Swans. Great conversion there from Shane Biggs. He's pretty happy with that result.
Knows where they are here, obviously. 30th game of his career. 24th for the Dogs, starting with the Swans, and they're away out of the middle. Long bomb, Mills. Franklin from 4 deep. Heaney almost had it. Good attack from both players there. Rose. No one getting out of that congestion immediately. Heaney came out with 2 riding him.
Thanks, guys. Well battled.
Picken in the congestion. Marcus Adams.
That's the word, Dwayne. It's slowly creeping back into the game, congestion. Started off a hell of a lot lower, a lot less in the first part of the season, but as this season progresses, so many bodies around the ball again.
Rough head, Picken. Ball up.
And I think particularly these 2 teams, Jason, it's not surprising if we saw a reasonably low-scoring game with lots of repeat stoppages.
It should be a shame because there's such good conditions. We'd love to see the game open up, but they're heavily invested in contested possession and clearances, these 2 teams.
Jong, Johannesson, Adams. Back to Johannesson. There's that run.
Oh, good run too.
Boyd fumbles it. Hanbury nearly had him. Back to Johannesson, and there the run continues. Wallace.
It's not just the run, but the ability to hit a target when you're running at that pace is not easy.
Well, Gil McLaughlin called it sexy footy for the Bulldogs. I think it's been added, missing for a while, but add Johannesson and you add a hell of a lot of the sexiness.
Daniel goes long. It's in the eye of the beholder, of course. 2, Jared. Some like a low-scoring game, some don't. Laidler to Rose. Sat it on him. Did well, though. Kept it in front. Took it to the line. The great Chris Grant, Bob Murphy.
He's got a new role at the Western Bulldogs now. Chris Grant in charge of football.
Well, they're all-time greats. Minson got a big smack on that.
Bontempelli forward of the ball by himself.
And there he is. Daniel found him. Over to Jong. Hits the top of the square. And a good mark. Rampy just keeps on keeping on. Smith wide. There's a couple of Smiths out there today. Hewitt.
Seen this a couple of times with the Bulldogs. They have got the tools out there to have an anchor, and once again they've gone into the forward line and haven't been able to hit the top of the square with a tall, imposing figure there to receive it.
McVeigh, Grundy. No Ted Richards, of course, today. He did resume his career in the reserves. Rampy. Turns it over to Boyd.
Well, it's a really good start by the Western Bulldogs. If you come to the SCG, you're up against the Swans. You want to get off to a good start. They were poor 2 weeks ago in their final game. This is an excellent start by them.
Rampy with a fist. Through legs. Dixon tried to drop into a high one. Umpire was wise to it. Ball up. Dogs should be confident. Last time here they won. It was a thriller. Round 5 last year. 4-point win to the Dogs.
Couldn't be any more opposite in conditions, though, could it? Last time it was absolutely pouring with rain, and perfect right now.
And Dan Hanbury got the 3 Brownlow votes in that game, even though the Swans went down in the end. Minson with a slap down. Picken got the 2 votes that day. Sydney McGlynn 3.
That's it there.
So halfway through this opening term, 11 gone, 11 left. Only the 1 goal so far. Hewitt. Jack.
Oh,
a mongrel.
That was an old-fashioned half mongrel talk.
Morris. Daniel. Dixon.
Speaking of rising stars, Daniel has got to be in the reckoning.
And what he does, Jared, is he makes good decisions and he uses the ball well. We just saw an example of it there, the little lead-up target. Kick was perfect.
Pumps it up. Grundy. Picken. Jong. Boyd taps it back down. Wallace. Gang tackle. Here's Caleb Daniel again. Boyd squeezes wide. Minson's on the march. Caught behind. Taken out by Nankervis. First game of the year for Big Will. Tom Campbell dropped. And Bevo's asked him for a goal or 2. His coach, get down there and kick me one.
Right on top at the moment, though, the Bulldogs. They've got the territory in their favour. 10 inside 50s to 4. Swans could have kicked a couple. Have butchered it a number of times now.
High. Ling Jong to take the shot.
Well, when you've got to make these count, you don't get many opportunities like this.
Well, it's a really good start, as I said, to the Western Bulldogs. You just don't want to give up an early lead away.
Gee, that's a tough decision on Ben McGlynn. He actually didn't do anything. In Jong ran into him with his head.
He's been good for a goal a game this year. This well within his repertoire. Will it bend back?
That's where he ran.
Yeah, still 6 goals from 7 games.
Still get amazed at the number of players that don't have a correct run-up when kicking for goal.
McVeigh. And Rowan, good stretch. Front spot held his ground and takes off. Franklin was in a 1-on-3 now. Plenty of hang time.
Well done, Suckling.
Yeah, just back in the hole. Franklin stood together. Wanted it back. Nankervis hits the hop spot. Parker has to fly. Stringer in defence.
Gee, that's a good defensive mark, isn't it? Over Luke Parker, who's very, very good in the air himself. Hasn't had a lot of it early. Jake Stringer, in fact, that's his first possession.
And among.
And hit the target beautifully.
Red pass. Wide. And still alive. Smith. There you go.
Now, Jared, your thoughts on Jake Stringer? He's starting high. He's playing midfield, not getting a lot of the ball. I'd love to see him inside the attacking 50.
I reckon you get your wish, Jason. I think they're just trying to ease him into the game, get some early touches.
Jack. Caught a little high. Okay, though.
Gary Rowan's the interesting one. I think he's showing some signs of finally nailing his spot. He looks really confident. Let's have a look at a defensive mark from Stringer, jumping over the top of Luke Parker.
Hasn't been in great form forward, so maybe trying to get some sharing in his hands to enhance his confidence. Only averaging 2 goals a game this year for the whole year, Jake Stringer, and just a goal a game in recent times.
But he's played most of the game up the ground. He's now the deepest forward, alone in the forward 50.
Minson slams it straight down to Jack. Rose edged under it illegally. James Rose free.
Plenty of numbers back, the Bulldogs. So Franklin deep, but he's got 3 or 4 Bulldogs in front of him.
So Towers is the other one who's got the height to grab a mark.
Heads into the pocket for Franklin. Delightful.
Well, that's amazing. And that was just a quick kick to take the other players out. They didn't mind that they were kicking it deep in the pocket. They just wanted a one-on-one. Webb was one of those loose players that was coming back, and they were in the process of getting themselves organised defensively. The ball just got kicked in there straight away.
15 seconds.
There's his career.
Well, he's shaped to go a boomerang initially.
Still thinking about it.
Don't see him kicked in too often.
Well, it's taken 15 minutes, but Buddy's turned up.
Yeah, I thought the boomerang would have been an unusual choice for him. He's usually very confident with the drop punt from that side of the ground. That one went straight through the middle and has given him and the rest of the Swans a little bit of a confidence booster to even up the scoreboard, despite the fact they're well down on penetrating the forward 50. But just getting away on this mark was probably something Luke Beveridge wouldn't be overly happy with. They've got it pretty much covered.
Marcus Adams shouldn't have got drawn away from him and left Webb isolated.
All tied up. 16 minutes in, opening term. Swans can go top
well read.
with a victory. Liberatore, the sidestep was good, the kick wasn't so.
Oh,
Grundy
well,
scoots away. Oh, gee. He either judged it extremely well or extremely poorly, I'm not sure.
I'll tell you what, the intercept was superb. He started well with it.
Play on.
Rampy to Hewitt in the back. Little nudge to Hunter. He's had a fair bit of it in this opening term.
Just a learning experience there for George. He'll use his body next time.
It's the hot spot again, and Rampy floats in front of Stringer.
they can't afford that, the Bulldogs. They can't allow intercept marks like that, and they'll do it all day, Sydney. They're very good at it.
No one to go to, Hanbury, so it's a contest, 2-on-1.
And the two mess it up, although he gets back in time. Morris flicked back by Webb, didn't quite work, and through traffic rather nicely, Gary Rowan. Jack out wide, and they are out. Parker. Well, he wanted Franklin, he got Franklin, and he's within range.
Yep.
It might still work.
And he'll have a taste for it too after a beautiful kick from a much tighter angle. This for Buddy would seem easier than the last shot that he had, and confidence soaring after a beautiful first kick.
15.
Dale Morris will be disappointed. He went the intercept mark, slipped through the fingers.
I think the one exciting the Swans fans though is Gary Rowan. He has had a really good start.
The number 49 for the season. It's drifting a little across the face. Two best defensive teams in the AFL. Don't concede big scores, these two. Suckling bumped on the kick.
Monster kick.
Rampy, another nice hang time mark.
Well, he turned over his first kick, but geez, he's made up for it since.
Franklin lurking, rises. Kennedy set it up. Jack got free. Heaney's his only man. Woods in front. Coming back from injury as well, Easton Wood. It's a little nudge out. And Heaney taken out cleverly by Boyd.
It's a good tackle too, Boyd. He grabbed the fist. Heaney couldn't get the handball away.
Easton Wood back from that hamstring. 9th game of the season for him, and the 5 changes for this one. Back into play. Rough head. Jong, Pickin. Went for Bontempelli. Parker cut it off and got a free. Bond's about to go forward again. Franklin top of the square. It's in his direction. From 5 deep. Oh, nearly plucked it. Under the crumb. Morrison Rose pursue it. Mills got there first. Back to Rose. Dropped it.
Dropped it cold. Oh, boy, that is a bonus. He dropped it cold when he was originally tackled, and then he's got the free kick for being held too long.
4 umpires there, and they didn't see it. Didn't see the drop.
Don't know how you don't see that, but he would be right on the edge of his penetrating kick, I suspect.
James Rose, he can kick a goal. Famous for the 3 goals on debut, coming on as a sub. That won't bend back for him. Stays in the field of play, thumped through.
They got to let off the Bulldogs' defence, that last inside 50 towards Franklin. None of the defenders had good position to spoil. Very fortunate that Franklin didn't take the mark.
Sutton again. Hugs that boundary line. Grundy, Redpath. Grundy! Having a good year. He's had a good career, really. Ultra reliable. Really plays a bad one. Hits the spot, almost Nankervis. Parker got his arms free.
It's good hands to release.
Kennedy.
You saw McGlynn finally got it there.
McGlynn bends it around. Rose under it. Parker under it. Suckling under it. Adams to take it away.
Nobody to kick to.
Has to go backwards to Daniel. He doesn't. Keeps it in the pocket. Danger. Well, he gave it to Dixon, knowing that he had no prior if he was caught. And he got caught and got done for ball.
Doesn't get many easy touches, Luke Parker, but the one thing has dropped off is his marking. He's had 3 chances already today to take overheads, and each time the ball has gone to ground.
You got a feel for Tory Dixon there. That was just a hand pass to nothing.
McVeigh opens it up, bends it back. Oh. Sensational.
So they fought back pretty well after losing a bit of a grip on it early, the Sydney Swans, as far as inside 50s, but it's just about evened up now at 10 to 12.
Have a look at this hand pass from Adams to Tory Dixon. Leaves him with absolutely no option. It's a floating hand pass, nearly over the shoulder. You can see the incorrect disposal, so if they don't pay the over the shoulder, he's got to pay the incorrect disposal. No problems with that, but gee, Marcus Adams did him no favours.
And there is the Western Bulldogs' great strength against sides top 8 teams. They are miles in front in the contested ball. There are reasons for that. They play an extra man normally up at the stoppage, but they are fierce as one at the contested ball.
Stringer all the way out of the middle.
Far.
Time on, too far.
He kicked the goal, but he ran too far, and the goal umpire got polished. She nearly got put 5 rows back.
Yeah, it
wasn't a little bit too far.
Yeah, Rampy.
Well, he's run from inside the centre circle when he got the ball to virtually the 50-metre arc. It's about 25 metres, Jared.
Mills, Hunter, Minson. Jean goes back to set it all up. Biggs. He goes back. Hannison.
That's good pressure, but they've finally worked his way through.
Biggs turns it over. Lloyd. Again, off the bottom, that dangerous kick to the middle. Hanbury made it okay for a second. Bontempelli fed it out. Picken rolls out of it. Got it up just in time. Boyd flicks it wide. Easton Wood on the full.
Well, it was an opportunity created by Liam Picken because he did a commando roll. Have a look at this. The goal umpire, very well done, Dane Rampy. Caught her and held her up without taking her into the fence. That's very good effort.
Those inside 50 kicks are fine if there's no contest, but the Swans are Russian rouletting on a couple of occasions that cost them 1 goal, and that one should have been a goal as well.
Might be a medal coming Dane Rampy's way.
Oh, I thought he did brilliantly then.
Did he ever? I think he did the AFL a favour. That fence looms quickly here. Minson back inside 50.
Friendly fire there, knocked it out of Jones's hands.
They're not getting a contest in the air, the Bulldogs, Jared, at all.
There's Jones, got it back out again. And Rose dropped in, got a little high. Rowan at full tilt, got a kick away.
Dropped the ball, just hit his foot.
He thought he just got a toe to it, a little unlucky. But he has been one of the best in this first quarter. He's been in everything.
Adams told to go. We're down to 2.5. It worked.
Beautiful pass.
Webb.
Well, the pressure that the Swans have brought to bear has...
Oh, Joe Hannison, good fake. The trip. Suckling. over Bontempelli's head.
Gee, the idea was right. It's just too high for Bontempelli.
The pressure, though, has just disrupted the way they move the ball at the moment, the Dogs.
Kennedy.
It's good pressure too.
Squeezed out wide. Later stages of this opening term. Suckling gets it from Hunter. Tries to scissor that kick. Heaney cut it off. Daniel had a piece of it, dropped it. Kennedy. Mitchell. Hanbury. Lloyd. Kennedy. Get away with it. Towers bangs it long. Franklin open goal. McGlynn runs for him.
He could have handballed. Could have handballed.
Shook him off.
Gee, he got out the back all on his own, Franklin, didn't he? I reckon sometimes Matty Suckling just tries to be a bit too clever with the kicks. He had an opportunity, he had a couple of players he could have hit, but he tried to disguise the kick and then pull it late. Missed the target.
Great succession of handballs by the Swans. It's high pressure stuff, high risk stuff, but they're doing it well with their hands.
So that graphic makes this spot look a kind spot to him, but the kick proves it wrong.
Gee, he could have 3 to his name.
Yeah, Benny McGlynn should have had 1. I mean, Buddy's entitled to handball that one.
Which is strange because he's been incredibly team orientated this season. In fact, almost too unselfish at times.
A minute left. They could be a lot further in front. Grundy stands under it. Minson almost took it out of Roughhead's hands.
But that's exactly what's missing from their game at the moment, the Bulldogs. Just a couple of blokes to start dominating the air.
Laid red
effort.
path. McRae, a roller. Wallace, time ticking down. Liberatore, Hewitt have cut it off. Little 1-2 with Lader, and Franklin's out the back. 40 seconds left. Thought about McGlynn, knows he owes him one, goes to him anyway. Cut off in the middle by Rose. Kennedy runs his way to 50 to Parker. 30 seconds left, back to Kennedy.
Oh, that'll do.
And he blasts it out on the full.
Well, that was fatigue.
It's a let-off, though, isn't it? I mean, Jack McRae just showed no right foot, misses an easy target. The Bulldogs should be having a shot at one end, and they nearly concede at the other end.
Well, Josh Kennedy, he had worked incredibly hard for about 30 seconds. That lactic acid just running through his body, and he had nothing left.
Seconds remaining. Laidler pops it back. They need a mark. Franklin's under it. Heaney floats in. Ball hits the deck. Morris back. Still some danger. Parker on the buzzer, hits the post.
Well, it's an almost quarter for Luke Parker. He has dominated by getting the football. He's had 10 possessions. He's been pretty good, but gee, that would have really capped it off.
Well, both teams coming off the bye looked a little rusty. 2nd versus 8th on the AFL ladder. Western Bulldogs could jump to equal 2nd. Swans could jump to top. Stick around. Saturday afternoon, match of the round from the SCG. Where else in the world would you rather be? It's the iconic home of one of the iconic AFL clubs, the Sydney Swans, pushing for top spot on the AFL ladder with a victory in their round 15 encounter with the Dogs. And they could be further in front, 2-5 to 1-2. As we're about to start this 2nd term, we head downstairs to Barry Hall.
Yeah, thanks, Dwayne. Well, the Western Bulldogs really struggled to have representation in the air in their forward 50. The guys spoke about it in the call, and there's been a couple of instances with Jake Stringer. We know he's been out of form, but one way you can get yourself back in form is compete hard, and this is a ball that just has to come to ground. As you see there, he waited for that 3rd man to come in. You're not going to get one-on-one contests in today's footy. Same thing, worried about his man. And look at the 3rd man coming in. You just have to make body contact there and get that ball to ground. Jakey Stringer out of form. One way to get yourself back is compete, and he hasn't done that in the 1st quarter. They need him up and going to score and to bring that ball to ground.
That's a good call, Baz. They were very ineffective in the air. Very tough for Jake Stringer to get into the game. He started middle of the ground, drifted forward. They didn't get much out of him. But I think both teams would be disappointed with opportunities lost. The Swans missed shots for goal, and the Bulldogs butchered the footy going inside 50. To have 16 inside 50s for just 1 goal, 2 is a poor return.
I think this the Western Bulldogs a bit more structural. They haven't got that tall there where they need him, and when they have, it's been on the end of slow ball movement. So the Swans have been able to I guess, get all their artillery together and bring the ball to ground. At the other end, the Swans have just missed shots, and that's bad football. I still also think they've made some poor decisions inside their forward 50. So both clubs have got the capacity, and missing that man there inside forward 50 and probably inside the goal square as well. Both clubs can improve, though, in their forward 50s.
Bontempelli playing forward. He's virtually no impact in the first term.
No, just a couple of possessions for him. Stringer just the one. So a couple of their A-grade youngsters have got plenty more to give.
Good news today that Tippett will be back and firing later this year. Second term underway. Kennedy flicks it out. Jack scrambles a wobbler to Franklin. Got to his hands. Nankervis. Towers found space where there wasn't any. Post.
And another miss. Good exit from the centre, though. Kennedy was superb, just dishing off the hands. And they've got to get back to this, the Western Bulldogs. The Swans are guns at the contested possession. And they've got to get on top of that area.
Not sure Pickens the go-to guy, although yes he is.
Why not, Dwayne?
Yeah, I was 100% incorrect there.
Gee, that's a good mark.
In a 1-on-3.
I think where they're really down at the Western Bulldogs, though, is just use of the football, just kicking efficiency around the 50%. That's more like it. They've got to hit some targets if they're to go forward.
Bontempelli to Dixon, just overcooked it, or maybe his lead wasn't held back long enough. Heaney, Rampy, Hanbury. Good delivery. Made it tough for Jones. Made it okay for Jones. He's got Franklin. And he's off and running on his left. Inside with the kick. Hewitt.
Oh, how well did he wait it?
It's a good kid, this one, youngster.
Hanbury feeds it wide. Just out of the reach of Kennedy. Still there for him. Rose. Tried the shake and bake. Hits the hot spot. Good mark, Wallace.
Yeah, it's the area of Dan Hanbury's game that needs improving, and that's just his disposal by foot.
McRae to Daniel. Dixon over the top, and now the Dogs are out. Stringer in a one-on-one inside 50. Takes it on himself. Headed to Redpath instead. Jones got a hand on it. Grundy, Hanbury, Jones.
Zach Jones saved a goal there.
He did, and his athleticism is making a really difficult selection issue for John Longmire when he's got a couple of tools. Ted Richards being one, Alir another, to come back into this side potentially, or does he stick with probably the more athletic Zach Jones?
Yeah, admitted today that this weekend in the press, that he didn't listen to his older and wiser brother Nathan Jones initially about commitment, but listened in the end. Jack goes wide. Early leap Sinclair, did pretty well. Dragged down, good tackle, didn't release it. Did now. Parker somehow extracts a kick. Play on the call, Zhong.
It's a pretty
Wallace,
fierce tackle.
Hunter. Jack spins out of it. Chaos ball inside 50. Nankervis tackle on Morris. Boyd back with the flight. Good pump. Franklin in the congestion. Stringer gets a chance to play a role. Look away handball set up Dixon. Sidestep okay, McRae.
Oh, he missed Daniel in the middle of the ground.
Bontempelli can get and go. He's got Redpath coming at him. Goes shorter to Daniel.
Well, he took a punt there, McVeigh. Tried to intercept, went to the attacking side, and Bontempelli nearly got him on the way out.
Wallace feeds it back. Bontempelli bangs it to full forward. Rowan had a piece of it. Let it go. He don't want to let Stringer get his confidence up. And that might do the trick.
Well, that's good work, Ray, from Jake Stringer. He was involved at centre-half back in that same passage of play, forced his way down the ground and got front and square. Should have been a mark taken here by the Sydney Swans. Had the numbers, had the out number, went to ground, and a good rove and a good conversion.
Plenty of Swans all around there, but nobody went near Jake Stringer.
Got 2 5-goal games to his name this year. But again, not having an All-Australian season many thought he might have. Still plenty of time left. And the umpire initially thought he was going to let that go. It was a contest, even though it was outside the circle, but he pulls it back.
It's funny how footy works out, isn't it? We spoke about Jake Stringer not bringing the ball to ground. His mate does it for him. Clay Smith brings it to ground. He gets a goal out of it. So important.
One of the all-time great full forwards, especially here, Barry Hall, downstairs for us. Again, the Dogs inside 50. Having a purple patch. The Stringer is leading them. Breaks through. Bangs the goal. Kicks one of the goals of the year. You can bet he's back.
That is exceptional. It was interesting because Laidler had been on him, and when Callum Mills came back onto the ground, Laidler rolled over onto Tory Dixon, and Callum Mills became Jake Stringer's opponent. You can see Callum Mills there in the centre of the screen, the number 14, right behind Jake Stringer, and he looks to have good position to push him up the ground, but the power and strength, he just bulldozes straight through him.
Well, as you said, Dwayne, that was one of the better goals of the year. And it's a damaging sign for the Swans because Jake is back.
In the blink of an eye, Dogs back in front. And it is starting to live up to expectations. Could be a finals preview between these two. First time they've met this year, might not be the last. Zhong tried to get it out. Good attack, Mitchell. Middle of it all. Hasn't signed to stay just yet. He's been in the press this week as well. Tom Mitchell, contract talks on hold. Towers third man up. Kennedy. Playing in front, Morris. Got there in front of Rowan. Dogs have steadied. Webb. Hunter. They're out again.
Two-man wide now, and they're using it better.
Smith, little dance with the Sharon initially. Free kick, Picken. Crowd not sure that it was there, but umpire was 2 metres away. Where's Stringer? Man of the moment.
He wants it one out in the square.
Yep. Bontempelli's the go-to. Gee, he had it in the hands and he got it free. High.
Gee, probably should have taken the mark, Bontempelli, in the end. But now a great opportunity for consecutive goals to the Bulldogs.
He's looked good forward, hasn't he?
Hasn't had a dominant
in fact, 3 in a
role
row
just yet, but he is starting to look ominous. And he was a star last time the Dogs played here and won here, round 5 last year. 23 possessions and 2 goals in that one. And he came up here to the SCG last weekend on his weekend off. Just decided to come to the SCG while he was in town and scoped the place. No wonder he knows where they are. Dogs extend the lead.
Must be a luxury for Luke Beveridge, Jerry, to have a player like Marcus Bontempelli, who we know is a gun midfielder, but at 6'4" can play forward and be a threat. He should have marked it after getting position behind Dane Rampy. Not sure what the free kick was for.
Wasn't a lot in the free kick, was there? Nevertheless, he got one, and the Dogs have put 3 in a row on the board. And you're right, it's a great luxury. And a damaging one just then.
A few nervous people at the SCG all of a sudden.
Better enjoy that one. You're not going to get many free kicks as a forward like that, I wouldn't have thought.
And Curvis put it in Parker's lap, then goes and gets it again after the smother. Minson kept it in front for Peckin to go. Roughhead, Grundy. Hold free, Grundy's ball.
Just needed to find a way to bring it to ground without giving away the free kick. But
he positioned himself well, though, Grundy, didn't he?
He's had another outstanding season. He does it year after year, Heath Grundy.
Thank you. Mills.
Oh, this is good defence by the Dogs. It'll go down the line to a contest.
Hanbury.
Well, he shouldn't be able to pinpoint that. That's poor defence by the Bulldogs. Great kick.
It's down the line to Franklin.
So's that one.
Oh, tightrope the boundary line to perfection.
Not sure about that, Jason, but it might have been the square up.
Bang! Welcome back to footy for Clay Smith. Hunter's also down to one to the side of the face. That was a good test for the ACL for Clay Smith, and Hunter got one after that. Hanbury bangs it back in Parker's direction. Good attack, Redpath. Muscled his way into it.
I like that. He knew he was going to get tackled, Jack Redpath, and he thought, I'm going to make this a physical contest, and he just threw his body into the fray.
It's gone up a gear this game. Down here at ground level, the body contact, particularly on this wing, it's been outstanding.
Little throw. Parker. Hewitt. Throw it. Oh,
gee, that was a throw.
Hunter. Jack Hanbury. Over Franklin's head. He's going to feed back if it hits the ground. Didn't hit the ground. Boyd.
Well, again, that was a kick into a forward 50 that was 3-on-1 against the Swans. Great tackle.
Jong. Smith, bottom Pelly. Loose handball, put Hunter under the pump. Smith dragged down.
Both clubs have got an extra in defence at the present time, so that kick inside forward 50 under pressure just has to hit a target, or at least put it to the advantage of your teammate.
Gang tackle on Nankervis.
Well, Hanbury off the ground. He's had plenty of head knocks in recent times, but he copped another one from Jack Redpath on that occasion, dragging the big man to ground. Good mark.
Mills.
Surely it'll be this week, won't?
NAB Rising Star's got to come soon, Jared. Pretty open. She mentioned NAB Rising Star as well. Caleb Daniel right up there amongst the contenders. Heaney, he's only about 4 games over the limit, Isaac Heaney.
He played on and Eastonwood didn't hear the call.
And he chips it to Towers in the pocket.
He had his arms around Isaac Heaney as the umpire was calling play on, and Eastonwood actually let him go, worried about giving away the 50.
Do you think he did play on?
I think he half did, yes.
Top of the square, Minson. Well, he crashed it down. He could have marked it. Kennedy crumbed it. It won't count.
Big free kick to in the back, too big. Will Minson. John Longmire not overly pleased.
No, I don't think he agreed with that one.
John Blakey happy to have the earmuffs on.
Boyd. Of course, only one Boyd available, given the kerfuffle at the Bulldogs this week. The other one's on hold for a couple of weeks. Back to the one that can play. Made it tough for McRae. Hunter. Suckling.
We're looking dangerous here. Suckling has speared up his man.
So Pickin, not a lot to go too long.
Can't bomb it long.
Jong.
Got to go around the
And
extra
it's a 3-on-1. Stringer was the one.
Well, that is a non-thinking kick, Jason.
Yep.
Wasn't a lot of pressure. It just had to go better than that.
There's nowhere to kick it forward when there's a 3-on-1. You've got to pull up and look for a little lateral option.
Now the Swans away. Towers.
Got the same problem. Got to hit a target, even if you pull up.
Lloyd. And that's not where he really wanted to go.
Well, they are critical errors when midfielders get the ball and kick it effectively straight back to the opposition, either across the line or hitting a Bulldog chest.
Danger. Morris, body on the line. Good spoil, Parker. He'll get the goal as a reward.
In its purest form, Jason, this is a game of keepings off. And if you give the ball back as badly as that, the Swans had already done the same thing with Lloyd's kick, poor kick, gave it straight back to the Dogs, and then the Dogs make this critical error. I mean, you just got to be better than that. If you're going to play high-quality football against top sides on the MCG in September, you've got to be able to pass the test in the home and away. And it's got to get better than that. Luke Parker continues his fine evening, getting on the end of one. He deserved it. He's got plenty himself, and dished them out.
Umpires just play on here. Both ruckmen pulled out. Now ruckman kind of know if it bounces outside the circle, it'll be recalled, so they gave up on it, even though the technicality is that the umpire thinks it's a contest, you can let play continue. Play on. Liberatore.
Better work there from McRae. He bodied up on Kennedy. Kennedy's just been dominating in there. And again, through he goes. McRae has got to pay some respect to one of the best stoppage blokes in the game.
Good attack, Suckling. And a splendid smother over the boundary line. Brilliant by McGlynn.
That's what he gives you, Benny McGlynn. It's just 1,000% commitment every time he attacks a contest or a stoppage. Doesn't matter what it is, tackle, smother. He does all the team things that you want.
He's still chasing a flag. His old team's won plenty and hasn't been able to snare one with his new team yet. Kennedy goes back. Mitchell to Franklin in a 1-on-2. Suckling. Franklin tried to swoop it off. Caleb Daniel did well. Lin Jong.
Stay out, boys. Clear out. I'll keep it, mate.
Swan still got the defender, sweeper, Gary Rowan. He's 40 metres behind anybody. Got to think it through. The Dogs are getting well beaten in that area.
Smith squeezed his kick wide last second to McRae.
So he needs a contest. Rough heads the long tall.
Keeps it low, and he did hit it hard. Did Redpath. Didn't go longer to the rough head option, and he may have been better off going longer. Not a bad spot for the Swans for a ball up here.
Just emphasise the point on Josh Kennedy. He's had 3 first possessions at clearances and 3 clearances himself, so 6 in total. The next best is 2. You've got to pay some respect to him. He's dominating that area.
Nick Smith stripped. Lin Jong rolls it. McVeigh gets it out of the area. It'll be coming back. Morris.
Well read.
Adams. Dangerous. Cut off by Smith. Can he gather and go? Big's got in the spot though. Splendid tackle. Enormous amount of time. Suckling bangs it back and stolen by Liberatore from Kennedy. Not paid.
Oh, he's saying he didn't have it first. It was nearly an argument for man in front, wasn't it?
Thanks, Tom.
Not arguing though.
This way. Out.
Minson, good fist on it. Wallace out. Pickin. Not quite a handball, but got away with it.
Yours.
Dixon. Well, he dropped into a high one cleverly there. And Rampy doesn't agree.
We get the benefit of replays, Jared. The umpire has to make a split decision. Do you think that's a free kick?
Just back a metre, Kieran. 1 metre.
Yeah, he took him high. That's the bottom line as far as the umpire is concerned. He didn't duck. He dropped, and that's not illegal. It may well become illegal, but it's not at the present time. I thought the bigger issue was the handball wasn't paid. I think it was to Mitch Wallace, who just hoiked it out.
He is a sharpshooter as well, Tory Dixon. He can make you pay, and he doesn't this time. 17 minutes gone, second quarter, and it's a tight one. 2 balls on the field, allowed to continue and turned over. Bontempelli's within range.
Hold. Where you are, that's good. Play on!
Yeah, that's a good kick. That opens up the ground. He's got Suckling across the field. He's the man you'd want to mark the ball.
And he's up, Suckling. Oh, it just eluded him last second. Still alive, though. Big's a little fumble. Back again. Hammered forward, full forward. Swans have the numbers back.
It was actually really good reading of the play by Jake Lloyd. He was the one who stopped that from being a shot at goal. He saw it, came back hard, didn't give away a free kick.
Rowan Smith, Luke Beveridge, Bob Murphy. Come back next year as captain, maybe, unless he gives it to Bontempelli. Kennedy got it out.
Somehow.
Nick Smith. Bontempelli just tough in there. You could throw a blanket over 15 of them.
Some quick hands in there too, Jared.
Very
you
quick.
Call them hands.
Lightning.
Almost throws.
This is a better spot, though, for a ball up for the Dogs. They're deeper inside 50. Rough head down. Lloyd, Mills, bangs it out. Heaney in a one-on-one. Heaney, Rose, Suckling. Suckling got back, jumped on. Rose wraps him up. Did he jump on it first? According to the umpire, he did.
There's a big win for the Swans there. It was a ball that just needed to be consolidated because they were getting pumped inside their defensive 50.
Quick play on. Lloyd, McVeigh. Franklin.
Too strong and too good for the youngster at the moment. One-on-one. He's able to just protect the drop of the ball spot. Just a little bit too strong at the moment.
Opens it up from the paint and kicks it Franklin style.
It's interesting, that kick, because that's the one in recent seasons you would have seen
go the other way,
go right to left at the end of the kick, but it just kept coming around. Just getting a better flight on the ball, not bending it as much.
Lloyd's had a pretty good quarter, and this is a dangerous kick from McVeigh. The skipper's had a good couple of weeks, and that was just beautifully positioned. And you're right, Jason, there was no tail on this one.
Back to equal top in the race for the Coleman. Lance Franklin, Josh Kennedy also on 49 goals. Tom Lynch just the 1 goal today in the Gold Coast's win. Franklin's stalking his 50th right now and looking solid. Jones, McVeigh, Jones down the corridor. Laidler squeezes it wide. McGlynn race on. Biggs goes to ground. McGlynn kept his feet and kept it in front. Goes back to Rose. Sidesteps, delightful. Hits Franklin.
Gee, that's great play from Rose, isn't it? How good is the composure from a young man that's only played a handful of games, James Rose? He didn't panic. He sold it to Marcus Adams beautifully and then delivered it on a dime for Buddy Franklin. The perfect kick.
Well, we're going to get a good look to see if on this side of the ground the tail returns to the end of the kick.
For goal number 50 for the season.
Great view of it.
Sun's gone down. Buddy's starting to light it up.
It's a sight to see when they're coming off the boot like that, isn't it? But just the noise, the thud off the boot.
No, that was a beautiful kick. Just tailed a little bit. Nowhere near as much as perhaps his early days. But I think the exciting thing for the Swans was this young fellow just coming into his second season. He's had limited exposure last year, but seems to be getting more and more comfortable. Brilliant disposal. And Ben McGlynn also was critical in that transition.
Can't watch. I can't watch. You're missing the show, lady.
Superstition, surely. If that's your routine, you've got to stick to it. Parker out of the middle. They're hot right now. Towers within range.
Just go back and kick it, young Towers. He's got plenty of talent. He's got the capacity, but
tries to hit Hewitt. Wallace out wide. Bontempelli.
I think on percentages, Jason, higher percentage of Towers goes back and has a crack.
Yeah, I guess the player with the ball's got to make that decision. Is he confident of making the distance? If not, he's looking for a better option. Obviously, he didn't feel like he could kick that one, but most players find that range from just outside the 50.
I think when you're a youngster, though, even if you've got your capacity, you don't want to be seen to overstretching, trying to be a team man. Well, sometimes the best thing for your team is to back yourself in and go for the goal.
Squeeze wide and out on the full. And maybe a few of the older players need to tell the younger players.
Yep.
That we mentioned that Callum Mills is a contender to finally get an NAB Rising Star nomination. They've got George Hewitt and James Rose also in the queue behind him, still eligible for a nomination. We've got some young players out there that are just starting to grow. Mitchell squeezed it through. Nat Curvis, good wrap-around tackle. Flick on was good. Rose couldn't get onto it. Easton Wood against the grain. Couldn't get away. There's Hewitt for us on cue. Here's Rose for us on cue. Here's Towers. Gets another chance. Again, unselfish. This time it might work. Franklin tried to pick it and run.
Great
Adams.
tackle.
Yeah, well
Great
done,
tackle.
youngster.
Well, he's young in games, but he's not young in age, Marcus Adams. He's a clever 23-year-old playing game 11.
He nearly slipped, he recovered well, and then a great ball and all tackle.
So at least he's got a mature body against Franklin.
Well, we said there were some quick hands in there. Umpires found one that was too quick.
Once again, though, I think Dean Towers trying to do the team thing too much. He centred the ball, there was no one there.
Hewitt tips it away, keeps it alive. Johannesson in trouble. Hewitt cleverly knocked it under him.
Well, that would be interesting. Who had possession of the ball?
I think he's going to deem that Hewitt dragged that back in under the player underneath. They've gone for some risky kicks across goal, haven't they, the Western Bulldogs?
I think Jason was too keen on getting it out.
Towers, Hanbury, don't have to give him much space. It's high. It's behind.
Interesting quarter. Dogs kicked the first 3 and the Swans have kicked the next 3.
Right in, Jason. Start behind, don't block him. You start behind him.
Everybody takes a breath. 3.5 minutes left. 24 gone, second term. Jones, body on the line, held it long enough, surely.
Got to pay that.
Mark's here.
Kick was for Eastonwood, but he just didn't get there in time.
And is he within range? Franklin lurking up. Third grab was almost there. Rowan dumped. Morris turns it over. Grundy. Smith. Suckling up. Rose stole it from him. Caleb Daniel, right spot, right time. And here's Stringer's moment. Corral. Bontempelli in the chase. Waited for the bounce. Rowan went and attacked it. Caught now though. Dragged down. Good tackle. It's a 3-on-2.
Got the outnumber.
Hanbury. Rampy. Dangerous. Jack. No prior. Wrapped up by Biggs. Hunter flicks it back. McRae back to Biggs. Picken might have to leap. 4 against him and crushed over the boundary.
You got, no, I've got the throw in. Your throw in? My throw in. Mate, it's inside. Well, that's not okay. Fish, throw fish.
Roughhead Nankervis in the ruck. Nankervis second go at it. Pummeled into the deck.
You see the Swans got lots of players on the inner circle. In the inner circle, and the Bulldogs have got 3 guys defensively. If they can flick this out, they'll release somebody for a shot at goal.
Lin Jong not necessarily on the same page there. Picken, arms free. Wallace tried to squeeze it through traffic. Still a scramble.
Play on.
Wallace flicks it out. McRae, unselfish. Roughhead.
That's a really clever kick from Jack McRae. He didn't know who was there, but he knew he had no chance of kicking the goal, so he just chipped it to 20 metres out directly in front, hoping there were some numbers there. It's just putting the ball in a dangerous spot. Really clever kick.
And Jordan Roughhead, you could see it. He had the best position. He just bodied his direct opponent out of the play, and he should go back and kick a pretty simple goal.
Doesn't have a lot of shots. And that graphic tells you that story. But that could be a massive momentum changer in this game.
Well, it was one against the Tide, that one, and the Swans defensive coach would be pretty dirty at one. This one didn't get across the line. They had it in this position. That needed to be killed there. But they did really well to keep that ball alive. Clay Smith did an excellent job. And then, well, that was just too easy on that occasion. That needed to be a much better contest from Toby Nankervis. You just can't get pushed off the ball like that, particularly when you've turned around and seen him. You've got to get your feet planted.
Four-point game. The margin at quarter time, if you've just joined us, was 9 points to the Sydney Swans. Parker. Mitchell just out of Nankervis's reach. Paddled it to his advantage. Parker gets out of the tackle. Franklin, arms free. Got the players out here. Mitchell goes central. Dixon slapped away. Lin Jong dumped, missed his foot. Towers had a couple of chances. Sinclair! Instant reply.
Kieran Jack. Brilliant. Pick up the handball from Kieran Jack on this one, Jason. There was a lot of people involved in that passage of play. Luke Parker in particular at its early stages. And then there was an average kick from Tom Mitchell at the top of the square. They made a contest. You'll see it unfold here. Parker involved heavily. Buddy whips it out to Mitchell, who finally gets the ball on top of the square. But it's the Kieran Jack handball that creates this goal. This one, bang.
Done well out of the swap with Lewis Jetta. So far, the Swans. Callum Sinclair playing a big role this year. 40 seconds left, and they get it out of the middle again. Mitchell. Easton Wood almost picked it off. Johannesson picked it out of his grasp. Biggs.
Stay out, bud.
Jong.
Next man, hold.
They've been able to hold up the ball movement of the Bulldogs pretty well, Sydney, by just covering off on those outlet players. So they're not getting any quick ball in.
Bontempelli skittled. Ball squeezed to the back. 12 seconds left. Mitchell goes inside to Lloyd. Smith. They want to turn it over here. 5 left. Still a chance. Almost towed off the deck. Slapped out. Siren beats Dixon. Score doesn't count. Classic contest between two top 8 contenders for 2016. Some claiming they didn't hear the siren. It certainly sounded before the kick. And at halftime, it's the Swans 6-7 to the Bulldogs 5-3. Sydney Swans still stalking top spot if they win. The Dogs can be equal top tonight if they get up from here. In the meantime, back to you, Sandy.
Good on you, Dwayne. Thank you. It's a real arm wrestle unfolding there at the SCG, and great to see two really tough, hard, competitive sides going at it, and that's reflected in the scoreboard as well. 6 goals, 7 to 5 goals, 3. A 10-point margin at the long break. The margin was a little bigger at Metricon Stadium earlier today. In fact, the Gold Coast Suns, who'd been winless for 10 games on the trot, came out and steamrolled St Kilda by the tune of 40 points. We'll have a wrap of that game after the break, but let's go to the break with the boys from the Suns, obviously delighted with the win.
Just what the Gold Coast need as they're trying. Oh, he's
Fixed him, Hutto.
Yep. And now the kick, which hasn't quite been right today for most of the Suns.
Rocket pretty angry with that, very disappointed. Oh, this is unbelievable.
This is getting beyond it.
Well, I tell you, actually, they should grab the footies and just check, are they flat?
Coach's lot, not an easy one, is it? And both could be forgiven for being frustrated this afternoon, because the kicking for goal at times was not good at all. Between them, they scored something like 33 behinds. In fact, make that 38 in the end it was. It was extraordinary. 15-18 to 8 goals 20. 2-metre Peter Wright kicked 3 goals for the Suns. Matera booted a couple, so too did Hall. Riscatelli was very good. Age is no barrier, neither him or Malcheski, who were both excellent today. Jack Nunes booted a couple, so too did Tim Membry for the Saints, but the Gold Coast Suns always in control. Gary Ablett was back almost to his best. He's just coming up slowly but very nicely as far as the Suns are concerned. Picked up 25 disposals today and kicked a goal. And after the game, Cam Mooney caught up with him.
Well, Gaz, I've spoken to a couple of the boys after this, and everything I've basically asked is, it's been a long 10 weeks for you guys, hasn't it?
It has. It has been a long 10 weeks. We got some boys back from injury. I thought the effort over the last 2 weeks was there, but we just didn't play, 4 quarters of football, and we knew that if we brought the effort first of all, and we played our game style for 4 quarters, that we were a chance of winning today. So a lot better feeling.
Oh, the effort was amazing. I mean, particularly in that first quarter, the first half. I mean, really, and they're in some really good form, coming off against a great win against the Cats. I mean, your first quarter, you really just blew them out of the blocks.
Yeah, well, I had a chat to a few of the Geelong boys during the week, and just asked them what they thought we needed to do. And you're right, they've got a lot of young guys with some leg speed, and we knew that if we brought the pressure and we were to slingshot it back the other way, we were a chance of scoring, and that happened today. I don't know how many inside 50s we had, but I'm sure we had a lot, and we took a lot of marks inside 50, so very happy with that.
You know how important it is to have a full list or a healthy list. You're back, you're healthy. Presti is back, he's healthy. O'Meara's looks like he's going to be back in the next couple of weeks. I mean, it makes the world of difference. You've got the big fella over there, big Peter Wright, just clunking a few, so it's starting to come together at the end of the year.
Yeah, it is, and I think you're right, Moons, just having those guys that have been around for 5 or 6 years now, that have had that experience, that helps the younger boys. Most of us are visual learners, so we actually see it out there on the field, and You know, the young guys are starting to pick it up. You know, there's been a lot of work going behind the scenes to make sure that you know, everyone's doing the right thing, educating the boys on professionalism and things like that. And I think we're heading in the right direction.
Just last quick one. There's a couple of guys up for, I guess, for contracts. There's a lot of talk back in Melbourne. How do you make sure that you keep these guys for the next 3, 4, 5 years?
I'll sign it for them if I have to. No, look, I think you know, today plays a big part in that.
Yeah.
You know, they need to see the light at the end of the tunnel and know that we are heading in the right direction, and I think this will do a lot of good for their confidence. So hopefully those you know, those boys sign on in the next couple of weeks and we can lock them away.
Love your time, mate. Thanks,
Easy
Shan.
numbers.
Yes, 40-point winners today and starting to get some of those injured players back, and they'll continue to come back, so they could have a very exciting back half of the season. Well done to the Gold Coast Suns. We've got a real arm wrestle, as I said, unfolding at the SCG. Sydney and the Western Bulldogs. Sydney lead by 10 points. We've got a half-time wrap on the other side of the break. Hope you're enjoying Super Saturday already. The Suns big winners, 40 points over the Saints, but a real arm wrestle here at the SCG with Buddy and his boys holding a 10-point lead at the long break. Let's go to our team now for their assessment of the first half. We're going to join Barry Hall, Gerard Healy, and here's Jason Dunstall. Jace?
Thank you very much, Sandy. It has been a tight contest, but without a doubt, the difference in the equation is Buddy Franklin. The way that the Swans have been able to isolate him in a contest one-on-one or find him out the back, and he doesn't let you down once he gets it.
No, he's been really exciting, Baz, but in some ways this has been as much to do with poor Bulldog defence, as we're seeing on screen here, as it has been with the ball movement of the Sydney Swans.
Well, we know Marcus Adams is a young player, but you can't play Buddy Franklin like this. Give him this much leg rope, particularly at the back door. Buddy will be licking his lips. We know there was a handover there to a pretty young player in Webb, which shouldn't have happened. But if you play Buddy Franklin like this, he's going to get you every day of the week. He's at the back. He's a hard man to stop when you play him like this as a defender.
Well, if you go up to the ball, you've got to impact on the ball, particularly if your opponent is Buddy Franklin. The Swans win the ball, they find him, and he's got a few tricks up his sleeve too, has our Buddy Franklin.
Well, I think that was Eastwood on that occasion. He got sucked up, and if you don't impact, you're going to get burned over the back. And this time he comes off the bench. Now, that's hard to control, Gerard.
That's his trick. He's got a couple up his sleeve. He's been exciting. The crowd sided into this. And, geez, it was a topsy-turvy second quarter. The Bulldogs kicked the first 3. Then the Swans responded with 4. And right now, they're going to need every bit of their process and their strategy, the Bulldogs, to get back into the match.
It's not a bad half of football, is it? 13 touches, 8 marks. That would concern the Bulldogs. 3 goals too, so he's certainly having an impact. At the other end, Jake Stringer started very, very quietly. In fact, he started on ball, couldn't find it. He went forward, couldn't create a contest. But sometimes, Baz, his impact is in the space of a couple of minutes.
Well, it's been a mixed bag from him. We want a body pressure from him and, you know, some consistency in the air. And it's amazing his teammate does exactly that, brings the ball to ground and gets him involved in the game with his first goal. And then he kicks this absolute beauty and puts the Bulldogs in front. And they look like they'll go along beautifully, but geez, he's a good player when he's up and going. They just need more of that from Jake Stringer.
10 points the margin. Anyone controlling the game, do you think, or up for grabs?
I think the Swans have been in control of the game. I'm just disappointed with their ball movement. They're just not getting enough reward for what they've done. And if the Dogs are to get back into it, that's what they've got to improve. They've got to stop kicking the ball back to the Sydney Swans.
So a beautiful night at the SCG, and it is top spot up for grabs. The Sydney Swans and the Western Bulldogs will have all the action from the second half on the other side of the break.
One of the prettiest sporting grounds in the world, not just Australia, the SCG. Dogs actually called this their home ground for a short period of time, played 7 home games here once upon a time. And there's how important it is. That's the live ladder with Sydney in front right now. Hawthorn were top when we woke up this morning, but they've got the 7th worst percentage in the AFL, the Hawks. Sydney Swans can be top tonight, and they can put a 2-game space between them and the Dogs if they win. Let's head back downstairs as John Longmire jumps into the box, and the players back to their positions. To Barry Hall
Good on you, Dwayne. We spoke about Buddy Franklin, his impact in the first half, but another player for the Swans who's back into form today with a pretty good first half of footy is Luke Parker. 19 disposals, highest possession getter on the ground. He's had 9 contested, 5 inside 50, 4 clearances, 4 tackles, and he's kicked a goal as well. This goal was so important, particularly the first 5 games of the season. He was leading the Brownlow for mine. He was outstanding. He was having a real impact. He's back to his best in the first half. Let's see if he has a good second half coming up.
Yeah, good call. They've got so many match winners, the Sydney Swans. The Bulldogs need to find a couple as well. Better steal this one. And here is Parker on cue. Gets the clearance. Slams it long. Rose under it. Not the second grab. Might still get it. Holding the ball against Towers. Easton Wood.
Gainer was Josh Kennedy getting that first disposal. Great connection with Luke Parker from the centre.
Suckling.
Ball went a bit wide. If you keep losing centre square clearances here, you will lose.
Skims it low. Danger here. Franklin lurking. Flicks it out. And Parker in space. Floats it long. Should be swallowed. And good mark in the end. Taken by Adams. Would have got the push regardless from front on, but held solid. And he's got the toughest task of anyone out there against Franklin. Bangs it wide. Rowan floated in nicely, didn't bring it down. Throw, according to umpire Schmidt. They were away with McRae.
Yep.
Well, it was a good release throw if it was a throw.
It was right on the spot. The umpire had, not even the crowd thought it was a throw. Franklin sits under this. Easton Wood. Adams with the fist. Danger. Hunter. Kicked off the deck by Parker. He squeezed that in. Threaded the eye of a needle.
Gee, that was close to the padding. I thought that hit the padding on the goalpost. In fact, there'll be a review here because a couple of the Bulldogs are pointing to the padding on the post.
Well, there'd be a review anyway. It went awfully close to the post, but gee, it was clever play anyway, wasn't it?
That's a handball, not a throw.
Yeah.
So that's a really poor decision, and it's really hurt them. Now, does this hit the padding? You can see left of screen, bottom left, you can see one of the Bulldogs players pointing straight away. And in fact, it's Dale Morris who had a pretty good angle of it.
It's a hell of a cross, whatever it is.
Looks like it's going to stand.
They need definitive evidence to overturn it, and that's...
Oh, yep. That's close.
As you said, they review every goal that's kicked when the ball gets taken back to the middle. They've got 30 seconds. They had a look at that. Jack caught by Bontempelli. Gone. And gee, weren't they cooked there with that throw call? Just as McRae was running forward, the Swans get one. It'll come back, by the way. But the Swans getting one there could have been a 2-goal turnaround. But spare man over the top as well.
First bloke with hands on the ball, though, was Josh Kennedy again.
Liberatore takes off. Goes long. No one in the square. Stringer. Feeds back. Takes the mark.
Could have let it go through. And was there hands in the back on the marking contest, or was it in the side?
They're owed one.
No doubt they're owed one. Good for Jake Stringer's confidence.
He's third. And they're back in town.
Well, there's a bit of a nothing goal in many ways, so I don't think the players are ready because the play on came. I think they thought it was still going to be called back.
Oh, boy, that's close.
Yeah, it just depends on where the shoulder ends and the back starts.
Correct.
It's a push, it's a push.
One hand's on the arm, but one hand's close to the back. But I've got, look, given the way they suffered at the hands of the decision previous, you're happy to see them get one.
Well, the footy gods are here. A little bit of luck goes back their way for the Dogs. Minson back in the middle. Nankervis. They size each other up. Good bounce to restart it. Secondary knocked down, but straight in the path of Mitchell. Couldn't squeeze a handball out. Hunter through the corridor again. Bontempelli pulled his kick last second. Might still work. Towed off the deck by Smith. Smith and Smith. McVeigh. Bontempelli, Daniel, Zhong, Bontempelli, Smith, Daniel, ducked out of it, back towards Hunter, knocked away in the congestion. Mills, Rowan, tried to get and run. The back heel didn't work. Liberatore 50 out, found some space, goes to the top of the square, and Big Red.
Just started this game, this quarter, just a little bit more fanatical around the ball, the Western Bulldogs. Swans got the first goal, but since that point, it has been the Western Bulldogs just a little bit more intense around the footy. You saw on that occasion, Libba just broke through. There was 3 or 4 Swans around him, but they weren't able to put any pressure on him. He gets the kick away, and a goal should result.
Just the 2 possessions thus far for Jack Redpath.
Luke Beveridge has said this week he wants his big man pushing forward and goaling. Redpath narrows the margin.
Well, it was terrific work in the build-up from Tom Liberatore, and I actually thought he had some options to hand pass. You'll see Liberatore get the ball here, and there's players everywhere calling for handballs, but he just weaves his way through, and if that's a deliberate kick, it's an exceptional kick to Redpath. I thought he was actually lining up to have a shot for goal. Now he's either pulled it lately or it's come off the instep. Give him the benefit of the doubt. Terrific kick to find Redpath.
And if you have just joined us, 3 times the Swans have broken out to a 10-point margin and haven't been able to get it beyond that. It's back to 4. Hanbury. Towers and Franklin attack it. Eastonwood. Sydney free. Franklin held, and he's within range.
Gee, that's interesting. I thought Marcus Adams was just trying to body him under the ball with a bit of body contact, bustle him under the ball. The umpires deemed he's gone too far and actually had a hold of Franklin. It's just a chip shot for Buddy from here.
Even the crowd didn't call for it. And normally, if Buddy's got a hint of getting a free kick, they're screaming. For number 4. Got sweet contact, but it's across the face.
Got territory, though. Can they keep it inside, keep the press going, and get the big one?
Stay behind, Matt.
Eastonwood.
Lockie Hunter just found plenty of space.
Oh, and a good mark. And landed like a cat. He's away. Grundy read it better than Minson. Mitchell. Hanbury wrapped up. Squeezed a kick away. Flicked away by Redpath. Delightful. Stringer bustles his way. Hunter. Keeps it low. Dixon. Back inside. Hunter. Flicks it wide to the pocket, and they can have a set shot. Liberatore will do.
See, they've worked it well.
And that's their 4th mark inside 50 this quarter. They only had 2 for the first half, so they're using the ball a lot better going forward, the Dogs.
Yeah, and they're looking for those little chip kicks. They're not just bombing away. That's been important.
And this is for the lead back. Biggest lead the Dogs have had today is 8 points. And they've silenced the crowd. Looks good off the boot. Never in doubt. Dogs are back in front.
How important is the 3rd quarter of Tom Liberatore been? He's set up a couple of goals. He's now kicked one himself. He's been absolutely outstanding. It's only a few minutes old, and he's got himself involved in just about everything. Tom Liberatore been brilliant. 3 possessions.
Along with this bloke, sorry, not him, Lockie Hunter. Lockie Hunter's been accumulating at will.
So he's got 3 kicks early in the 3rd term, Tom Liberatore, for 2 goal assists and a goal himself.
Lin Jong bodying up Kennedy at the centre bounce.
Hanbury. Here's Kennedy. Arms free. That didn't look like a handball. And it wasn't. Webb. Caleb Daniel. Has he got it in his little leg?
It's actually interesting looking at the numbers from the centre clearance. The Swans have had 11 first possessions, and the Bulldogs only 5. And yet it's a 50-50 split as to who takes the ball away. So they are really clamping down on particularly Josh Kennedy whenever he gets the ball.
Suckling had it stripped from his grasp. Ball in. And it's a nervous crowd here all of a sudden. Massive difference between a win and a loss for these two. As I mentioned earlier, the Swans can jump 2 games clear of the Dogs if they win. But the Dogs will be equal second on the AFL ladder if they win.
Let's go.
And finishing position heading into the finals is going to be huge for who plays who, where and when. Webb goes back. Boyd.
Hold, hold. Move on, play on.
Told to go, takes on Lloyd. Pressure on the kick. McVeigh stands under it. Johannesen.
She's a good tackle, isn't it? Speaking of which, that's an area that Bulldogs have dominated in this term. It's not often the Swans get beaten on the tackle count, but they're double. They've been doubled at the moment, 10-5.
Lin Jong tried to back out of it, couldn't. Good tackle again.
Ball's pinned. Yep.
5 changes of selection for the Dogs. Took the risk on Johannesen, but it's paid off so far. Hanbury. Mitchell. A bit too much air with it. Heaney got the air to try and bring it down. Hewitt does bring it down. Caught though. Flicked out wide. Jong suckling from the stand start. Almost as he was backing back. Smith did brilliantly. Held his ground when Rowan went to ground. Ball in.
Not entirely pleased with that kick, Jake Stringer. Very quick to turn around. He thought he was off to the races with the little chip over the top.
Swans have never finished lower than 6th under John Longmire, his 6th season as coach. And this is an outstanding franchise now. Just expect success every year now. Recruit well, make players out of players who weren't able to make it at other clubs.
It's no surprise after Stringer kicked his 3rd that Dane Rampy's gone onto him either. So Callum Mills was doing the job. Big ask for a young player.
And Mark to Laidler, one of those players that Sydney Swans have made out of a player who couldn't get a game under Mick Malthouse. Wide kick to Towers, tried the flick on, didn't work. Dixon to Biggs. Just overcooked his pass to Redpath.
Oh, he dropped it.
He missed Roughhead, didn't get Redpath. Still alive though. Lin Jong from 45 drills it.
Right on top now, the Western Bulldogs. Intensity is the biggest issue. John Longmire will be filthy on missed tackles, and it was missed tackles that has allowed the Western Bulldogs to kick that particular goal. They should have nailed in Jong, and the tackling element of their game is such a pivotal base for their performance, and yet there's no pressure on them, no Sydney-like pressure. Playing behind men, ball goes to ground, push through tackle, another bird tackle.
I like the work from Jack Redpath. He'll be dirty on himself for dropping the diving chest mark. Would have been his 2nd goal, but he bounced up, recovered the ball, fended off, got a hand pass, brought his teammates into play.
Good signs here for the Dogs. Roughhead slams it down. Good attack. Webb. After McRae gave it to him, missed his target. And Heaney can't keep it in.
And that's interesting, the fact that they've swung Heaney back as a spare just to batten down the hatches for a period, Jerry.
Well, he's struggling to find the footy at the moment, Isaac Heaney. Has done for a couple of weeks now in a row, interspersed with the buys. He gets plenty of tackles, but he'd like to get some more footy.
A short ball in. Wallace dragged off, didn't have it. Mitchell to Jack, squeezed it out. It'll be coming back. Adams launches it to a good spot. And the float in Sinclair.
That's a good mark, courageous mark going back the flight. Just got himself balanced to control the footy.
It's been a good press up from the Bulldogs. They're finding it hard to get out.
Houston Wood.
The Swans.
That's his forte, the pick-off mark.
They've come out flat though, Jason, the Swans. There's nowhere near the same attack on the ball as the Western Bulldogs. They're flying.
Picking. Well, he didn't think of that through.
No.
Rampy puts it to grass though, and now he's in trouble. Stringer wraps him up.
Thanks.
Good spot here for the Dogs.
Everybody in almost the forward 50 of the Western Bulldogs, save 2 players. This is a big press up by the Dogs. The Swans are joining in, making sure everybody's going to be congested.
So almost every player inside 50. There's only 2 players outside 50 right now. Towers, hands free. Jack couldn't get it away. Hanbury, stolen. Webb, kick half smothered. Bontempelli somehow. Caleb Daniel the spoil on Mills. Gang tackle. Ball up.
The challenge for the Sydney Swans is A, to win the ball, and then B, not to just hack kick it straight back to one of these loose defenders sitting 40, 50 metres off the ball.
Kennedy, Jack dropped it. Liberatore, somehow, a miracle.
He's on fire, Jared. Absolutely on fire in this third term.
He's absolutely killing them, as you said. And so are the Western Bulldogs. They're just beating the Sydney Swans at contested possession right now. The Swans had a slight advantage in that in the first half of the ground, and they had a slight advantage in the clearances. But right now, the Western Bulldogs are winning both in this term. And Libba, well, he's best on the ground this quarter by an absolute country mile.
This is an exceptional start. 5 touches, 2 goals. 2 of his other kicks have gone directly to the player that's kicked the goal, so they are goal assists and a clearance to boot. Just dominating.
5 goals in a row for the Dogs. It's the biggest lead of the game to either team. Massive danger signs here for the Swans, and Bontempelli gallops. It's a 2-on-1. The Swans have the 2. Heaney.
That's that case where the player kicks it as far as he can without thinking about it, and that's exactly where the loose defender was for the Swans. We spoke about Isaac Heaney, who's been taken out of the forward line just to shore up defence.
Now, I think it'd be good for Isaac just to get his hands on the ball a little bit as well.
Hanbury, Biggs with him, used his body brilliant by Hanbury.
He's had a good game. He's going to have a great second half if the Swans are to win and pull this lead back.
Easton Wood, so good at that. Pick off marks, number 1 in the comp.
It's on their terms at the moment, the Dogs. They are running the Swans ragged.
Minson. Put Webb under pressure, but it works. Pickin, it's a back from McRae.
Poor option.
Smith might still get there. 3 Swans around him. Laidler, Mills, Nick Smith, McVeigh. Clay Smith pursues. Put some pressure on the rampy kick.
That is a great kick.
Rose.
Franklin one out with Morris.
And he's desperate for it. Sits it on his head. Morris, they tie up. Who's frees that?
Oh, now.
Franklin's.
What about the high contact on Morris to start with? He can't believe this. You've got to call it both ways.
I've gone through, Smitty. On the line.
This will be a very, very interesting replay, because I reckon Franklin got away with a bit at the beginning, and then Morris had to fight back, and he's the one that got pinged.
He's an experienced campaigner too, Dale Morris. He knows how to play it. 221 games. And the footy gods are here. Maybe that wasn't a free. Franklin could have had 5 or 6. He's got 3.
So he's got him in a headlock there. You can't do that and then play for the free kick, surely.
Is that play on, that one?
Well, it should have been a free kick to Morris for high contact to start with.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to see Buddy get 10 free kicks for the night. Don't worry about that. But you've got to pay the ones that are there, and I reckon he infringed first.
It's evolving into another classic between these two, as it was here last year when the Dogs got up by 4 points in a thriller. Towers flicks it out. Suckling gets there with a boot. Parker a fumble. Wraps up Jong. Gang tackle on Jong. Ball up. Sydney's won all 6 games at the SCG they've had here this year.
Oh, what a tap.
Tough to beat here. Wallace. Wide to Bontempelli. That'll do.
It's just man on man for the Sydney Swans in their defence at the moment. Bulldogs have got 1 extra in their defence, so Swans have pushed 1 extra up to these clearances.
Both teams coming off the bye, so should be just as fresh as each other. Ling Jong dumped.
You'll see just off the back of this stoppage, it's Zach Jones who's the released player. If they can get it into his hands, he's off. There he is, just sitting off the back, hands in the air. He wants it. Can they get it to him?
Towers was caught picking a bounce pass to Hunter.
Well read.
Mills.
He's got a good footy brain, this kid.
The interesting thing of that stoppage we just saw, Jared, is The Bulldogs forwards elected to stay deep and not come up and make a 2-on-1, which is normally what you would see. They backed the players around the stoppage to win it.
Franklin couldn't get the run and jump that he wanted. Mitchell slung. Picken was doing the slinging. Adams back. Johannesson to Biggs. Didn't see anything he liked. Back to Johannesson. Doesn't see a lot he likes. Easton Wood, he likes that. He can hold it up and reset.
It was a clever kick from Johannesson. It just gave Easton Wood time to reassess.
And it wasn't a panic kick, was it? He knew he had to stop. Gave it to comfortable hands, secure hands. No reset, as you said.
Bontempelli, brilliant kick. Daniel to Wallace. Roughead and Rowan. Still Roughead and Rowan. Squeezed it out, jumped on. McVeigh heads out wide to Hanbury. Picken hunts him down. Hanbury collects. Picken collects him. The game's gone up a gear. Jack. Lloyd back inside. Hewitt calls out Kennedy. Gave it to Kennedy to set it up. Franklin or Heaney. Franklin at the back. Boyd.
A little bit buddy conscious on that occasion. They had Isaac Heaney, the short. He just draws everything though, big buddy.
Bontempelli the sidestep on McGlynn. Showing some poise. Caleb Daniel says, hang on, boys. Let's take a breath. Hugs the boundary. Roughead about to jump. Good hands.
Starting to get a bit of aerial dominance for Bulldogs, Jason.
Well, they couldn't have any early. Didn't look like taking a mark early on, you're right.
Wallace.
And they're certainly using the ball a lot better in this third term. I think that was the criticism we had in the first half. Too many wasted opportunities from poor use of the footy.
Boyd. Adams. Had Morris wide. Might have bitten off more than he could chew. Liberatore made it look okay. Rowan jumps in, drops it. McVeigh saves the day. Jack. Nick Smith. Lloyd thought about taking off immediately, holds it up.
Probably come back through defence. You'd think they've got all the numbers behind the ball. They're still going to the contest.
Heaney. Let it feed over the back, let it roll out.
Certainly tidied up their defensive structure, the Western Bulldogs. They've made it very difficult for the Swans to go forward with any fluency, and the ability to hit targets has nearly dried up.
Kicked the last 5 goals of the game, the Dogs. Kennedy somehow, but couldn't hit a target, and Boyd paid the mark. And he saves the day so often.
Well, this needs to be...
Well, they've got the extra down there because Gary Rowan is alone in the back 50.
Suckling to Hunter to Picken. Liberatore, no one to go too long.
Clever.
Floats it wide. Bontempelli.
Oh, it needed to be a
loops
kick.
it to Webb. Crutch. The lift door's closed on him. Stringer tries to bustle his way out. Does. Libber couldn't bustle his way through. Bontempelli in the congestion.
Rowan
Hunter
still behind the ball.
Jong. Well played, Nankervis. Hewitt. Smith, little fumble. 4-metre kick. Kennedy. And they're out. Hanbury.
Nothing.
He's got nothing forward. Franklin looks up and there's no Franklin to kick to. Parker. That was clever. Hanbury. Kennedy.
Gee, they did that well because they had plenty of numbers back, the Bulldogs.
McVeigh. Can he get the jump though? Swooped over his head. Wood. Daniel, some sort of handball.
Just no value for money for mine, Jason. The amount of times the Swans have control of the ball in and around the 50 to 70 mark, and to get nothing from it, even in the first half. They got plenty of shots at goal. They just didn't get enough score on the board. I think they've got to really address their ball movement forward to the centre.
Hanbury back inside. Lloyd skies it. Bends. Still in the field of play. Good spot for a ball in here for the Swans.
Just hold it. Go, Jace.
Crowd on the edge of their seats here. Dogs have been dominant. Chance for a late one for the Swans. Hunter's kick smothered. John goes back to Johannesson. Handball smothered. Back to Johannesson. Bangs it out. Could be coming back. One-on-ones. Dixon. Smith kept it in front. Bontempelli. He's got no one in front of him. Had to go back. Dixon. Back to Bontempelli. Out wide, he's got the option. Smith has to wait. Stringing out, calls for it long. It's shorter. Back to the Bont. Had to spoil it. He's cooked. 3 possessions in this string of play. Swans are out. Jack. Lloyd, good spin. Rowan's out wide. Might go for the big leap. Holds his ground. Tried to pluck over the back and go. Dragged down. No free. Here's a free. Rowan's ball.
Having some sort of quarter, the Bont. Just 11 possessions.
Lance Franklin, he's the go-to man. Rises. Hands on it. Rose almost there for the crumb. Almost got Morris high. Did get Morris high.
He's hurt himself.
Squeezed out by Parker.
Oh, what a player.
Against the tide, the Swans get one back.
Well, Dale Morris, he picked the ball up and then went charging through with his head. We'll see it unfold, but bottom line is the game remains alive because Luke Parker has just somehow managed to get one out of a pack and get it through. Let's have a look at this.
He's not at fault, young James Rose. He did nothing wrong. Let's hope Dale Morris is okay.
It's the right call for now. He led with his head.
Thanks, guys. Just the ruck's in.
That's good to see.
It's really good umpiring.
Been a cracker so far. We've still got a quarter and a bit left of it.
Libber again.
Hunter swoops. Drives it inside 50. Dixon. Not the third grab. Smith. Swans dodge a bullet there. Grundy's touch ball. Parker muscles a couple out. Jack. Parker, they go low. Mitchell, Smith, Kennedy. And he jams it long. Rowan's down there. Flicked away. Boyd again. Boyd and Morris combining. And he heads wide.
From Morris.
Red path. Keep it in, but that'll do.
This is definitely, Barry Hall said, has gone up a notch early in the third term. I think the game as a spectacle has certainly gone up. It's opened up a little bit. We're seeing a little bit more flowing football. This is a really good one-on-one between Morris and Rowan. And not just the spoil, he then provided the shepherd that gave Boyd some space.
It's well roved by Boyd as well, the veteran.
Bontempelli, Boyd, bang. Good bump on McRae.
Wide bump when you can tackle.
Yeah, good point. Pickin floats it. Good crash of the pack. Dixon comes down with it. Caleb Daniel tries to use it wisely. Flicked away by Hanbury. Jones in the heat of the kitchen as well. Still alive.
Great contest now. That was a brilliant punch by Hanbury.
Flicked out. Hunter bends it, bounces it, goals it.
Well, this is a hell of a contest now. Every man is just throwing themselves at the ball or at the man. Hanbury, it was a brilliant spoil. I think it was against Lockie Hunter, but he stayed on his feet, stayed in the contest, and he finishes up kicking the goal.
All the things we weren't getting in the first half, we're getting now.
No, it's against Suckling, but Hunter just, his man goes for the ball. He is just loitering on the outside.
Clay
Great
Smith.
handball. He's done well in that small forward position, Smith.
It's a despairing effort there from Dane Rampy. Not enough to stop the shot for goal from Lockie Hunter, but the extraction from that contest of Clay Smith to shoot the hand pass out to Hunter was exceptional.
We're down to a minute and change. And 1 quarter left.
Holding the ball, let it go.
Let it go. According to the umpire, Bulldogs ball. One last chance here for another edition. Hunter short. McRae to set it up. Stringer calling for it long. It's too wide for him. Too wide for everyone.
That's a really strange option. If you're going to go to the one-on-one, long to the pocket where Jake Stringer wanted the ball was the kick to go to.
Well, Lynn Jong in the goal square. He's good above his head.
They're claiming it's on the full here. Free kick Grundy.
The field umpire made that decision for the boundary umpire. And if he was 100% sure, that's a good decision by the field umpire to make.
Rampy. Maybe not time enough for a Swan score. Plenty of time for a turnover from here. Minson. Eastonwood tried to flick, but he flicked it the wrong way. Hewitt.
Buddy's free. Oh, good smother.
Yeah, brilliant smother. Killed it over the boundary.
So this is the kick from McRae. Does anyone touch it before the boundary? Or does it touch any part of the line? You can see the field umpire's actually in perfect position.
Yep. Whole of the ball has to cross the whole of the line, of course. Ball back into play. Kennedy. Bontempelli the tap down. Sinclair almost missed his boot. Now Curvis used his bulk, but now has he given up his prior by taking it on? Umpire cuts him some slack. 15 seconds left.
Don't reckon I've ever seen a player better at getting his arms free when tackled than Josh Kennedy.
He's unbelievable, isn't he? And he's doing his job, it's just not doing enough with it when it releases.
Hunter. So Sydney, as the clock ticks down, one last chance at a mark forward.
Well, he knew how much time was left because he just pumped it in.
Eastonwood just keeps on keeping on. Siren sounds. Epic quarter from the Dogs. They were 10 points down at half-time. They led at three-quarter time by 13 points. The battle for top spots on the AFL ladder goes down to the wire. Don't go anywhere. Final term coming up next from the SCG. Welcome back to the SCG, and the Dogs threatening to hand Sydney their first home defeat of 2016, and it was a Liberatore-led revival in the third term from 10 points down at half-time to 13 points up. At the last change, the Western Bulldogs on fire.
It's not the biggest quarter he's ever had, Tom Liberatore, but I don't know if he's ever had a bigger impact in one quarter. 8 possessions, 2 goals, 2 goal assists, a couple of clearances. He was involved in everything, making a goal out of nothing on that instance. And he's the reason they find themselves with a handy little lead, Jared.
Well, they cashed in the Western Bulldogs. They lifted their intensity. John Longmire wouldn't have been happy. He would have sensed it early in the piece. They weren't as fanatical, and it shows in the third quarter stats. Clearances, -18, +8. Clearances absolutely dominated around the ball, and the inside 50s is where it told. And they just used the ball a lot better, Jason. We spoke about how many times they bombed it in the first quarter and the second quarter to really nothing. And that time it was the Sydney Swans, whose kicking efficiency went under 60% for the first time in this quarter. And the Western Bulldogs' efficiency, it went through the roof. They were short kicks, but they methodically got the ball forward and then hit the pack hard when it was loose inside forward 50.
Well, Barry Hall is downstairs. How did you see it, and who's your match winner, Baz?
Yeah, I love Marcus Bontempelli in that third quarter. We spoke about Tommy Liberatore and how good he was. Marcus Bontempelli was unbelievable. 13 disposals. He had 7 contested, but more importantly, he had 205 metres gained. So he just gets the ball and moves it forward with class. He sets other players up. He was unbelievable. And you have a look at his journey through that third quarter. He was outstanding. He got him back in the game with Lockie Hunter as well. And we spoke about Tommy Liberatore on screen there. They were the main reason they're ahead. 13 points at three-quarter time. They were outstanding. They need a big class quarter coming up, though.
Slow start for the Bont, but a massive third term in particular, and a massive question asked of the Sydney Swans. Can they respond?
It's been a seesawing game from the outset. Both teams have had their momentum. Big leap from Roughhead. Toes it off the carpet. Mills got there. Stringer picked his pocket. Handball missed the target. McRae wide. Picking. Half smothered by McGlynn. Got it to half forward. Lin John kept it in front. Kennedy threads the handball through. McGlynn. Mills to the wing. Bontempelli with a fist. Just out of Morris's reach. Adams. Bontempelli tried to thread the handball through again.
Hanbury by Hanbury, just killing the ball.
He was best on ground when these two teams met last year in that Dogs win. Dan Hanbury, father, of course, played for the Dogs, Matt Hanbury, but not enough games for him to be grabbed under the father's son. Little bump on the kick from Roughhead, and McVeigh takes the mark.
It's at 28, Dan Hanbury, with a quarter to go. Lockie Hunter, 27 for the Bulldogs.
Eastonwood floats in with a fist this time. Parker knocked it down to Kennedy, scrambles it. Boyd.
Yeah, he had himself positioned pretty well. Swans had an extra at that contest, but he drifted off, picked up the pressured kick.
Silence the crowd right now, the Dogs. Floyd in from roughhead, knocked it down. Caleb Daniel took them all on, had a bounce, pushed, not tackled. Dixon, sidestep. Picken, Daniel.
Oh,
Redpath.
That's dangerous.
Turns it over. Horrible spot, but a good spot for Sydney. Jack, Towers, Franklin wants it long. Puts it out in front of Heaney. Hasn't had a big day at the office just yet. Johannesson. Heaney, good tap to his advantage. Back inside. Kennedy. Jack he goes for in the end. Jack to send it along if he wants to. He holds it up.
Jeez, now the Bulldogs have got their total defence set.
Keeps it low. Heaney direction. Skids past a couple and Boyd sees it out.
Good body position.
Saying get it up in the air.
And really Heaney was applauding the kick that went wide and low.
Johannesson had terrific position on him.
Just needed to go in quicker. They had the spares.
Swans need a momentum changer here.
Yep, here.
Kennedy wrapped up.
Play on handball.
Jack.
Play on.
Hanbury another possession. Mitchell. Towers in the congestion. Easton Wood again. Just happens to read it better than everybody else.
Great kick.
The release kick to Morris. He didn't want to go. Tory Dixon feeds hard for him. Oh, spills it. Gets it. Smith. They wrap each other up. Little tap out. Picken kept his feet. McGlynn kept him. And Dixon content to see it out.
Well, that would have been exhausting for all players. They're right into the fatigue zone now. And that was blood and guts there, because a loose ball there for the Dogs, and they had a free rein to goal.
There's the contested possession numbers taking us down Quality Street, these two right now. Low scoring, slightly scrappy opening term, but it's kicked up a couple of gears since then.
Keep your meter, guys. Keep your meter. Keep your meter. Toby.
And Curvis told to get away. Fourth man up. Mitchell. His arms free. Good tackle, Liberatore. McGlynn and Bontempelli. Boundary umpire to sort it out. Triple change on the Swans bench while the ball is over this side of the ground. Fresh men on. Minson, little palm away. Mitchell clever. Hanbury another possession. Heaney stands under it. Couple to beat. Suckling. Danger. Oh, how did the umpire read that? Is that deliberate?
Well, did he kick it inbounds? I reckon he was nearly over the line, and he kicked it. He should have gone for the hand pass. Would have been the better option.
It wasn't out on the full. It was either deliberate or out of bounds.
Does he kick it inbounds? Yeah, it probably does. Okay. That's a really good decision.
Yep, right on the line. Now Mitchell. Will he slot it from here?
3 metres.
Possession number 20 coming up for Tom Mitchell. Hasn't used the ball as well as he normally does tonight.
Slot Sissett would make up for a few errant ones.
And the crowd's waiting to get into the game for Sydney.
Edge of their seat as he kicks it across the face. And it's a ball in opposite side.
Who's coming in? Yep, I'm taking it, Smitty.
It's a huge first goal. The Bulldogs can manage to get the ball up the other end and get the first goal. It's a long way back from there for the Sydney Swans. Vice versa, they get it, it's game on.
Towers bends it around. Heaney, top of the square. Good flick back punch by Suckling.
Let's clear it out, boys. Blue dot. Thanks, Isaac. Just one.
We'll understand how talented Isaac Heaney is, but he's still just a 19-year-old. He's quite a strong young guy, but they are mauling him so he doesn't get a leap.
They're still under the age limit, but 4 games over the NAB Rising Star limit. He's going to have a super career, as is Mills. And he thumps it. Heaney, can he get up? Almost, it is a mark. Against the flow, really. Parker has taken it, of all people, in that pack.
Well, that's been his great strength, or one of his great strengths. He's a terrific all-round player, as we know. He's the best and fairest winner at the football club. He's an absolute star, but he's always had that capacity to mark above his head. Just gone missing a little bit in recent times, but that was an important one.
post.
Oh, that would have been number 4.
And that hurts.
He's had 25 possessions, one of the dominant players on the ground, Luke Parker.
Blue dot, thank you. Hold.
You can see the shot on the face of John Longmire. He knows how valuable every opportunity is.
Suckling nearly hits the centre circle with the kick in. Bulldog free to Minson.
Well, that's one way of relieving the pressure.
Oh, that's 50.
That's 50, and Minson might be within range.
Now, Dan Hanbury made the decision to kick it back to Will Minson. And if you do that, you've got to hit the target. He could have thrown it to him. He went for a little chip kick.
Oh,
he half shanked it.
He's well and truly within range. That's a 60. So from the kick in, a 50, and now the shot from 45. Big Will. A drop Tom Campbell for him. He's been in good form in the VFL. First game of the season. To the boos. Massive moment. Good approach.
Shoot.
He celebrated the moment it hit his foot.
Well, he can't complain about the decision, Dan Hanbury. When you're 15 metres away, and he's still talking to the umpire, the responsibility...
He missed him by 10 metres.
Yeah, exactly right. The responsibility is with Dan Hanbury to get it back to Will Minson on the full.
Well, this is a great release pressure kick. It went long and it went strong.
So he could have thrown it to him right there, and he's missed him by 10 metres.
It's a great irony. His kicking has been his weakness over the years. He's really improved it this year. Today, 73. That was a bad one.
And you reckon Big Will's happy?
Nearly mugged 4 of his teammates then.
I think the whole of the Whitten Oval fan base went up as one when that one went through, including those on the ground.
Biggest lead of the game to either team right now. They're 3 goals in front in essence. No free kick. Play on the call. Pickin. Good tackle. Daniel. Game on the line right now. Back inside 50 towards the boundary. McRae. Flicks a handball away. Sinclair bursts it down the line. Kennedy flies. Ball over the back. Knock on from Towers. Didn't work. They've got the answers right now, the Dogs.
Oh,
Adams, a horror, though. Parker to set it up. Lance Franklin, will it get to him? It bounced unkindly. 3 around him. Flicks it out. Towers, sidestep, caught, slips away. Hewitt.
And as that was unfolding, Marcus Adams was berating himself, screaming out, probably calling himself a few names because it was his poor kick that got turned over, and they could get punished with a goal.
Fair run up for George.
Well, he's been one of the pickups of the year. Been on the list a few years. He was part of the Pat Vez Primi swap with Andreas Everett. So the Dogs had a role in him being here at the Swans, and he slips it through. This one's not over yet.
Well, he can run up as long as he likes, as long as he keeps banging them through. Dean Towers once again had the ball inside forward 50, and this time he made them pay. He made the right decision. Luke Power got it forward. Bit of a mongrel bounce. I think Buddy would have liked the drop punt, but that was a smart handball. And then he came back inside looking for someone to give it to, and he picked out the right man. And George, he didn't let them down to keep the game alive.
About the NAB Rising Star selectors, Jared. They've got about 15 blokes to get in the next 9 rounds.
He's got to forget about that kick, Marcus Adams. Just focus on the rest of this quarter and stopping his man.
And they're alive all of a sudden now. Nankervis flicks it wide in the Towers direction. Bouncing ball. Gets there. Took on the tacklers. Back to Hewitt. Picking in the spot. McVeigh. Jones. Showing some poise all of a sudden. Kennedy. Franklin screaming for it. He was half held. Still in his direction. Franklin! Not quite. Rough head. Morris.
That was a good effort by Adams in the finish.
He would be feeling very nervous right now every time there's a one-on-one contest.
Hunter bangs it wide. Mills floats in. Good grab. And land like a cat.
Oh, look at that.
Takes off and hits Franklin lace out within range. But he wastes no time. This will bring the crowd alive. Oh, baby, how good was that?
Well, they should all be applauding for Callum Mills's performance because that was absolutely brilliant. But Buddy's the man, he's the superstar, and with 4 goals now, he really has had a major impact on this result for the Sydney Swans.
Back in front in the race for the Coleman medal. He's kicked 4 goals. There's the lead, the mark from Callum Mills. And then he played it on, hit the target, and Buddy knew with an open goal square, he could make the journey easy.
It's good rivalry starting to build up between these two sides, Jason. Nice tight finishes at the SCG.
And there might be another one coming up in September, the way these two are shaping up. And suddenly it's deafening in here.
It's a big ball, this one.
There's a kick in it.
Jeez, that was a good tackle.
Hewitt, body on the line. Picking, a splendid strip. Jong, caught, wrapped up. Ball up.
Ferocious tackles in there, technical tackles, magnificent tackles. It's tough to get a free possession in there.
Swans have kicked the last 2, 5-point margin. Leng Jong. McVeigh.
Had 2 really important possessions the last 3 minutes.
Smith keeps it low. Kennedy, solid. McGlynn. Here's Franklin. Adams feeds back. Franklin! Of all people, you knew it was going to be Lance.
You don't want Buddy to get in behind you, but pay tribute to a fantastic handball. That release handball from Josh Kennedy was brilliant. McVeigh was superb off the back, but he's hard to beat when he's in front. He's impossible to beat when he's behind and the ball's going at the back.
It's late in the game. It's Buddy time. Swans are back in front.
Didn't see this coming, Jason. I thought the Dogs were playing that well, but they just about go away with it. But they have lifted enormously here, Sydney, and now it's over to the Bulldogs.
He's irrepressible, isn't he?
What about that?
Franklin. Josh Kennedy again. Now, Marcus Adams, he got too busy looking at where Buddy was, and he lost flight of the ball. He lost the flight of the ball. Needed to concentrate more on the ball and less on Buddy in that instance, because when the ball came down, he was out of position. It's probably the hardest job in football. 1 out with Buddy Franklin when he's in form and the ball's coming down. He's now had 20 touches and kicked 5. Looks the match winner.
Ton of time left in it, though. Only halfway through this term and it'll be recalled. Chance for everyone to take a breath.
The Swans have just got on top around the ball again in this last 5 minutes to get themselves back in the match. It's the area where the Bulldogs just, if they're going to win, have got to address.
Wallace back to Minson. Heads to full forward. Swans have a 2-on-1. Rampy. Jets a good grab.
Great mark.
Great spatial awareness there from Rampy. Hanbury a little sore. Parker, he's lifted.
He's had a big game.
McGlynn.
Finds a lot of good positions on the ground, Dean Towers.
Towers, great smother. Boyd, heart and soul into that one. Rough head, hands free. Liberatore, that smother could be a game changer. Libba feeds it wide. Pickin. Held up. It might work. McVeigh got there first. Laidler, Towers, Parker.
There's some tired players out there now.
Jones gets a free.
A little bit lucky there. Swans just butchered the ball, gave it back to them. Got to be smart. Dean Towers again has just got to settle down a little bit with the footies. Not a young player, but it's still an inexperienced player.
Heads wide. Biggs. Had a big piece of it. Should have brought it down. Lloyd feeds it on. Trouble again. McGlynn. Unselfish. Missed his target. Hunter. Morris. Wood. Franklin hunting him down.
Jeez, he's a good athlete, this bloke, and a great footballer.
And the delivery under extreme pressure.
Just lost the grip of the contested possession here, the Bulldogs, the last 5 or 6 minutes. They're down 16 to 24 in this term.
Morris shakes off Franklin. Stringer, and a brilliant pick-off again. The flick from Smith, ball in.
Well, it's interesting because the Easton Wood run and then the Dale Morris possession made Franklin chase a couple of times. He's come off for a spell. I reckon they'd be delighted that he's actually sitting on the bench at the moment, Buddy Franklin.
And he doesn't spend a lot of time on the bench, Buddy. He's about an 85%er.
From the knockdown, Picken tries to break free. Rowan wrapped him up. Wallace gets it back. Biggs to the hot spot. Redpath.
Oh.
Grundy! With a one-hander.
That is just an amazing skill. Jack Redpath very quiet today. Hasn't been able to have an impact. Kicked a goal.
He's never been All-Australian before, Heath Grundy, but he'd be right in the reckoning right now.
Sydney free block.
I mean, they're the sort of
running their way.
They're the sort of things in a game that's got a point as the margin that decide matches. I mean, you talk about Buddy Franklin kicking goals that win you at one end, and then you've got Heath Grundy saving them at the other end.
Hitting targets is another big issue. You go into the centre of the ground, you want to make sure you hit a target.
Sinclair did the right thing there.
Can't afford to have a midfield turnover. Luke Beveridge knows what's riding on this. They want to play top 4 finals. You've got to win these games. You've got to get in the balance when you're playing wins and losses against the top 8 sides.
The difference for the Dogs is either equal 2nd or 8th tonight.
Lewis Handel misses target.
Lloyd, Jones, amazing poise there. Kieran Jack, Easton Wood, doesn't drop many, dropping back. Boyd, Biggs, got away from Hanbury. Made it tough for Dixon. Good pick, Rampy. Bumped on the kick, still alive. Hewitt, arms free. Thump clear by Morris. Bontempelli ducked out of it and knocked out of play. Huge bit of hassling there from the Swans.
There are some players who can barely lift their feet out there, and there's a arrested Buddy Franklin about to come back.
Well, he's calling for the swing. He wants to get back on. And the Dogs need a bit of stringer action. They need the ball in his hands, and for him to impose himself now on the back half of this game.
Well, they put him to where the ball is, Jared.
Well, they got Bontempelli up there, and here comes the other bloke.
Just off the bench. Oh, they're hanging onto his coattails, as many teams have over time. Laidler puts it back. Big float in, Nankervis, Rose, the crumb. Parker wrapped up by Boyd.
Jeez, that's a good tackle by Boyd.
Nankervis. Sinclair drills it wide. Picken hunted down by McGlynn. He shook him and kept it running. Webb, Picken, pressure on the kick.
Here he comes.
Stringer's moment, and he fumbled it. He fluffed his lines. McVeigh heads back. Touched through by Towers. Parker fends off. Flicked out. Game couldn't go up any further than it's gone up in intensity right now. McVeigh, sidestep, banana across the body.
Geez, he's had a big quarter, McVeigh, and that would have been the absolute icing. It was a brilliant inside move, just put too much on the boomerang.
They look very tired, the Dogs.
It's a finals-like atmosphere right now, and they're both coming off the bye. So they should have a little bit left, but they are spent. Boyd, straight down the spine. Minson stands under it. They all fly. Crumb's going to be massive. Lin Chong dropped it as he was tackled. Ball.
Oh, was that the first or the second?
Delayed decision, wasn't it?
And again, McVeigh.
Parker.
No, it was Parker. Another big quarter from Parker.
He sits it up for the big grab. Franklin, Towers, and of all people, it had to be the pick-off specialist, Easton Wood. He played on ahead of the mark.
Got to go back. Yeah. And this is just actually playing to the Swans' hands because they can now reset their defence.
Play on, play on.
Oh, came back behind the mark now. Play on.
Adams.
Hold, lads.
5.5 minutes left, and they're a kick from the lead, the Dogs. Rough head.
Great mark.
And played it, and Curvis thought he had it. It was stolen.
They've got to find some run, the Bullies.
Could be a sting in the tail yet. Liberatore, who had a sensational third term, makes a contest here, lays a splendid tackle. Smith goes back. Caleb Daniel to set it up. Johannesson. Stringer leads for him. Johannesson sees him, puts it in front. Big piece, not enough. No too high free there.
Gee, he nearly had that, Jakey Stringer.
He had it, didn't he? He's not happy about it. He probably did get his arm pulled down when you look at it. That's a free kick.
Hewitt. Lloyd.
Get it out of there.
It'll be coming back. Boyd or Easton Wood should get there first.
Jones.
Jones has got the motors running.
That is good running.
Boyd, he put pressure on both of them. Still pressure. Boyd kick to Caleb Daniel. And they're off. Easton Wood. This won't get the Stringer. Kennedy.
What a play. What a play. He's had a great game, Kennedy.
He has been brilliant. Too many times, unfortunately, tonight for the Bulldogs, they haven't had that contest to bring the ball to ground. And they're out here. They've got numbers.
There's still only a kick in it. 2-point game. Hanbury.
And all of a sudden, you just don't see as many players running to make position.
Parker. One of the big stars of the show.
Buddy's got himself stranded midfield.
Time's on their side. Hanbury. But it's a long time to be milking the clock. Franklin, Sinclair both there. Johannesson, good smother Parker. Daniel flicks it on. Adams shrugs. Wallace has to go. The collision. Dogs have players at the fall. Daniel, Bontempelli squeezes it towards Picken, makes a contest. Rowan, a little fumble. Got away with it, Mills. And Hewitt is out in space. But he falls. McVeigh's there for him. Floats it out in front. Mitchell.
Everybody's so tired, they're just hoping that they don't have to run on.
Now McVeigh sets it up long. Lance is under it, Parker's under it, and Roughhead crushes it through for a behind, which won't matter. Good idea, 3-point game, a goal to win it.
Well, they've gone pretty long most of the time, Jason, when they've been desperate. This time the hole unfolds, so you might as well take it.
And they're out. Bontempelli wide to Hunter. Got danger here for the Swans. They've got one-on-ones.
Got Daniel in the middle there.
Redpath. Stringers in a 1-on-2. Squeezed it wider to Picken.
Got to hit a target.
Daniel's still spare.
This could be it. All or nothing for the Dogs. They get there inside 50.
The long kicks to too many Sydney players.
Swans have the Stringer up. Hits the deck. Kennedy. Parker. Kennedy. Mitchell. How clever was that?
They've got composure, the Swans. They've been here so many times in these situations.
2 minutes, Jason.
Still a long time to wind down, but you chew the clock up when you can. And then when you can't, you play the percentage with the long up the line kicks.
Lloyd hugs the boundary. Sinclair got there.
Oh, that hurts.
Held it long enough for a juggle out of play. Juggle out of play. Dogs get a break.
Well, Sinclair needs to look at that tape, and next time it's got to be in the hands. John Longmire cannot believe that ball is not in his hands.
A good old-fashioned Saturday afternoon match of the round. And it's lived up to expectations. And it's going down to the wire. Biggs, top of the square. Stringer, Rampy. Front spot, Wallace. Almost broke through. Got it out. Big Red. Sidestep. Could be a sting in the tail yet.
For some reason, Jake Stringer didn't fly for that last ball coming in. He stood watching it. Didn't want to fly for it. He was in position to actually compete.
He's not attacking the ball like he'd like to.
Move on. Play on.
So McVeigh to himself. 1 minute 20 left. Franklin comes up to half-back. Lloyd. Good sidestep. No one to go to. Realises it. Doesn't want to waste it and wastes it. McRae. One last roll of the dice for the Dogs.
Got time, can't waste it.
Every Swan ahead of him.
Dixon.
Smith. Dixon. Dixon got hands on it. Jones drags it down. Wallace. Daniel. Shakes
What
off.
a kick.
Bontempelli.
What a kick from Daniel.
He's been here before, this bloke.
Right, Marcus, that's the line.
And he plays on quickly. How about
Johansson.
this? Johansson with 30 seconds left, maybe for the game. He can take another 25 at least and maybe leave 5 on the clock only.
His first game for how long? And he's got the game riding on his boot.
15 seconds gone. Mark's here.
Hamstring in round 4. He's missed 9 games, no VFL games, straight back in, and this for the match. To the booze. Struck it pretty well. He's living the dream.
What a great moment from a bloke who's a back pocket, Jason. You're not supposed to go forward and kick great goals like that. John Longmire can't believe it. And again, the Western Bulldogs have grabbed themselves a memorable victory at the SCG.
Well, 2 seconds left. Time enough for a ball up, and that's it, surely.
Back this way.
What a phenomenal finish to a classic.
How is that kick under pressure?
Siren's going to sound. Swans fans can only watch and weep. It's a win to blow your mind for Bulldog fans.
Look at the jubilation of the players.
Oh, dear.
Extraordinary stuff. Can't believe it, Josh Kendi. He gave his all, as he always does.
It's old agony and ecstasy. There's not a lot separating the two.
You know what? They made a lot of mistakes in the last quarter, the Bulldogs, but at that moment, when Caleb Daniel needed composure, he did, and he found the little chip, the vision to Bontempelli. And then Bontempelli realised that he was on the edge of the 50, would have been a tight kick. He finds Johansson, and then Johansson handles the moment. That's exceptional stuff in the last few seconds of the game from the Bulldogs.
They're a great side to watch, the Western Bulldogs, and that's just a great victory. They give everything to Dogs. They've lost a little bit of their sexiness the last few weeks, but gee, it's coming flooding back with a lot of their key defenders back in the side. They need Jake Stringer, Jason, to find his very best, but that's a hell of a win for just hanging in there, Jason.
Well, they were spanked by Geelong in their last game by 57 points. And this was an old-fashioned 8-point game. They are now equal second on the AFL out of the Dogs. They would have been 8th had they been beaten in this one. And right now, it's still anybody's flag, and the Dogs are in it as much as anybody else. Let's head downstairs. Barry Hall.
Well, great scenes down here. What a fantastic victory from the Dogs. You've been out for nearly 10 weeks. To come back in and kick the winning goal in the end, what a feeling.
Yeah, it was great. It was a hard game. Sydney really took it up to us, but I think off the back of the Geelong game, we learned a lot from that, and just try to improve this week, and it's great to get the 4 points.
Certainly didn't play your best football, but that third quarter really set it up for you. You played some really good football, and you ground out in the last quarter and kicked the winning goal in the end. Great feeling.
Yeah, as a group, we didn't think we were hard enough in the first half, so the third quarter was really crucial for us, and we were able to get on top. So, yeah, it was good effort from the boys in the middle, especially.
Well, some of your younger leaders, wasn't it? Tommy Liberatore outstanding. Bontempelli again, really important for you.
Yeah, they always seem to step up when the game's on the line, and I'm just glad they're on my team.
What about that kick, mate? Is it the most important kick you've ever had?
Yeah, probably, but just had to relax myself and just go through my routine and sail through.
How are you feeling now?
Yeah, pretty stuffed. 10 weeks out, I'm blowing, but just have to recover now and look forward to next week.
Go and enjoy, mate.
Thanks, Baz.
How good was that? The kick looks so good, the expressions on the faces of the players, and he just said, just had to relax. Look at what it means to the Western Bulldogs. They now join a number of other teams on 40 points. It's getting tight at the top.
It's incredible, isn't it, the ladder? It's the best ladder we've seen at this time of the year for years. Outside of the 8, we know perhaps Port Adelaide can make a late charge. But, gee, it's great to see. Rowan Smith is a fantastic man of football, and, gee, didn't he enjoy that one? You saw him in the box. Here's Barry Hall again with one of the winning dogs.
Yeah, here with a pretty important player, Marcus Bontempelli. Well, what a fantastic victory in the end. You did this last year, and it almost set up a year. Could be the same thing.
Yeah, you might be right, Barry. We did. We got there in the end. Another tight one up here, and we always look forward to coming up here and playing Sydney on this deck in front of this crowd. So really proud of the boys tonight, and yeah, we'll wait and see from here.
And he's a team thing, but you need individuals to step up. You stepped up in the third quarter. Tommy Libbert's always outstanding in the third quarter, really set up this victory.
Yeah, we know how hard Sydney are inside, and we really needed to battle away in there for 4 quarters. You knew it was going to go down to the wire because they're a good team and an experienced team. So credit to our boys who had to go for the whole day, and that third quarter really did set it up for us.
Let's hope it does set up the season, mate. Good luck.
Thanks, mate.
29 possessions and a goal for Marcus Bontempelli. And how relaxed is he for a young player in a special moment, a massive game? They've just snatched it, and he's just talking casually like that, relaxed and objective. Brilliant.
It is amazing. He was up here on his week off last week. Thought he'd take in Sydney Harbour, and he dropped in here to the SCG knowing he was playing here this week.
It's all about the preparation, Dwayne.
Absolutely, and it's hard to believe, but history has repeated. They did it last year, came here, won against the odds by 4 points. Sydney hasn't lost a game here all year till the Dogs come here and win by 4 points.
How good for the Bullies fans, and a number of them, no doubt, travelling interstate to be here. Doesn't that make it a sweet trip?
And it's just great that the ladder is so tight, and they're right now in the reckoning. You pinch one of those top 4 spots, and I think that despite the evenness is going to be still the key to winning the flag. All of a sudden it's now back in their control.
Well, we know Bob Murphy's not coming back, but they got a few important players back this weekend, and a few more games under the belt. They're right in the mix.
And they've got Richmond next week, whose season virtually over. The tough thing for the Sydney Swans is Sydney Swans' next 2 games are against Geelong and North Melbourne, so it's going to be tough the next 2. In fact, Geelong and Hawthorn, the Sydney Swans' next 2. Here's the reaction as the siren sounds.
Smithy.
Look at Smithy. He loves it. He'd be a terrific senior coach one day, Rowan Smith. I tell you what, he'd wear the lows and he would celebrate the highs. But this is a great moment for the Western Bulldogs. They had a tough week off the field during the week. And I tell you what, Tom Boyd's a winner out of this, because there won't be as much interest in that scenario after this win.
Absolutely, but it's going to be tough for him to get back in regardless. There were so many solid contributors. They made 5 changes at selection, and you've got to say all of them come off. It's been a superb performance. Joe Hannison, first game back with no VFL games. Will Minson, first game of the year, kicked a critical goal. Lucas Webb back in, first game of the year. Clay Smith, first game since his ACL injury round 6 last year. And Easton Wood, they took the risk and brought him straight back in as well. And he was critical, especially late.
And people talk about the West Coast Eagles being flat track bullies because they can't win away from home, but it's tough to win away from home, particularly when you're against the top 8 side. I think it's only the 4th out of about 18 goes this year.
And if you want to hear a song sung with gusto and passion, listen to this.
What a fighting, gritty performance by the Western Bulldogs, and history repeating itself once again. 4 points was the margin in a cliffhanger last year. The Dogs got up 4 points again this year after they were headed late in the term after leading by 13 points at 3/4 time. Just an outstanding game of football, and what a great advertisement for our game as well. But well done to the Western Bulldogs, who now have climbed the ladder and are, well, looking pretty certain, maybe, of getting a top 4 spot. So now we turn our attention to what should be another really big game as well. It is Carlton and Collingwood, and what a moment for a young Carlton boy The Silvani name has been missing at Carlton for some 15 years, but now it's back. After Stephen played 312 games for the club, his father Serge played 239, and that young man, Jack, is about to play his very first game. And like Dad, looks as though he's wearing the long sleeves as well. So a fantastic story, and we certainly wish him well. It is, of course, election day today. Just on that, a little piece of trivia. Collingwood has the best historical record on election day. They've played on election day on 9 occasions, and they've won 6 and lost 3. With that in mind, let's hear from our current PM, yes, he's still there, with his take on our great game.
AFL is the most exciting football code. An enormous field, extraordinary athleticism.
He gives it a ride. It's a chance. It'll be a goal. You beauty, buddy.
It is the leaping, jumping, flying game. Where possession is everything. Possession is everything. It is a game that moves faster than any other. So exciting.